What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty. Join my Discord if you want to chat and share your thoughts, the link is in the description. 3 Fate Chapter 51 Regain lost crown as the eldest son of the third generation of Naruto Sarutobi Hizen. Shinosuke is not as powerful as Sannin, but is also a strong shinobu, and he and his wife are called Sarutobi Hizen's right-hand man. He swaggered and ran on the roof, not caring about shinobu at all. Sand Shinobu on the clock tower spotted him, and immediately said, "The enemy attacked, the enemy attack. It is Konoha's ninja, there is only one. Let me deal with him." A puppet master, one puppet in one hand, controlled the two puppets to attack and flew towards Shinosuke. Fire escaped the art of fire. A thick pillar of fire spouted out, igniting the puppet, and in front of him, two sand ninjas rushed out and rushed towards him. Earth Dungeon Sky Cover. On the heads of the two sand ninjas, a different space hole was opened, and a huge green pot lid fell, hitting the two sand ninjas' heads, and the house collapsed with a bang. Jumping into the air, three puppets stopped him again. I had to stop and stood on the roof. Around him, three puppet masters surrounded him and said, "How dare you Konoha ninja be so courageous? Attacking us alone? It's really overwhelming." Huh. Let him see the puppetry in our Cheyenne village, don't underestimate our Sharon. Seeing the three of them, Shinosuke smiled disdainfully. "You three chicken dogs want to deal with me too? I really can't help it, don't escape." A knife pierced his chest, and a puppet carried the knife and stabbed the knife into his body. The puppet master who has not spoken laughed and said, "What, it is so easy to be killed, Konoha's ninja is really bad, so you are brave?" "I'm kidding, I'm super brave, why?" Before he finished speaking, a knife pierced his chest, blood spurted from the wound, and on the other side, the stabbed Shinosuke turned into a mass of mud. "Earth escape, earth stand in." Pouch. Shinosuke drew out the knife, threw it away, and said, "Don't underestimate Konoha's ninja, Sanda." Advertisement kicked away the body of the puppet master, and rushed towards the remaining two sand ninjas. Court death. Kill him. The two puppet masters were extremely angry and fought with Shinosuke, and at this moment, the three of Kyosuke had already touched the clock tower. Kyosuke said, "I broke through from the outside, you walked through the door, just now big brother Asuma killed two sand ninjas, and three puppet masters rushed over. In other words, there are two sand ninjas and a medical ninja inside. Be careful, understand?" "I know, you have to be careful. Also, remember to inform when you blow up the bell tower." Asuma knew that if Shinzuki was forced to explode the bell tower, it would be normal for him, operating. "I know, I'll go first." Stepping on the wall of the clock tower, he rushed straight up the tall building. "Let's go in too." Asuma and Hong walked through the door and climbed the stairs properly. As for Kyosuke, he quickly climbed up the clock tower, over the railing, and just stepped out to pull a steel wire. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Whoops 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 whoops. Countless kunai flew out, too late to escape. Kunai penetrated his body, punching out how many holes he didn't know. The flames made up the holes in his body. A sand ninja ran out to confirm the situation, seeing this scene, was scared to death. Risk. Kyosuke did not give him a chance to speak. He stretched out his hand and grabbed his face. The flame instantly poured into his mouth, burning through his trachea and esophagus, taking his life, and placing Sand Shinobu's body. Entering the bell tower quietly, on the other side, Asuma and the two also started to move, dripping in quietly without disturbing anyone. In order to avoid being discovered, they walked under the stairs, relying on chakra absorption, and approached quickly. The ninja footwear on the feet eliminates a lot of sounds and avoids exposing yourself. "Okay." A Sand Shinobu stood on the stairs, always feeling something weird, and said, "What's the matter? What's wrong? No, why hasn't Taro come back yet? Is something wrong?" Asuma, who was just below him, gestured to Red, and Red nodded to express his understanding. Asuma jumped to the opposite wall. With the help of the wall, his body turned back in the air and rushed towards the sand. Not good. Sha Ren was shocked and immediately resisted. Hong listened to the sound of footsteps above, determined the position, and kunai pierced through the sole of the person's foot. The sudden attack made Sand Shinobu all of a sudden. He could have resisted Asuma's attack, but this attack made him appear flaws. Asuma immediately seized the opportunity and kicked him on his body, and at the same time, he was able to resist Asuma's attack. Kuwu throws it out. Kuwu hit the eyebrows of Sand Shinobu, confirming death. Red walked out and said, "Let's go, the next step is the medical ninja." Advertisement: the clock tower is not big. The two soon met Kiyomizu at the door of a room. It seemed that he completed it smoothly. It is not difficult to catch him live. "I'll open the door." In order to avoid any mechanism, Kiyomizu let the two hide by the door, and he violently broke the door. Boom. Like a bull, he smashed the wooden door fiercely and entered a laboratory with many test tubes. When a medical ninja of Sand Shinobi saw Chingia breaking into the door, he was shocked and immediately pressed the mechanism at hand. Shoo. Countless steel needles shot out from the corner, penetrated Shinsuke's body, and inserted into the opposite wall, on which purple venom dripped. "This kind of thing doesn't work for me." Kyosuke dashed, and the medical ninja hurriedly avoided, and the table behind him was interrupted. Shulking Snake Hand. A large number of poisonous snakes rushed towards the medical ninja. The medical ninja still had a few brushes, and instead of being caught, he cut off the snake's head with a chakra scalpel. Hey, don't underestimate the medical ninja, kid. Illusory art Rakuranami art. As soon as the medical ninja's voice fell, countless cherry blossoms were scattered in front of him, as if he was under a cherry tree in spring. The warm wind was blowing, and he was lethargic. In the next second, he reacted and understood that it was an illusion. He bit the tip of his tongue and used pain to break the illusion. Unfortunately, during the time he was breaking the illusion, Shinzuki had already attacked and punched him in the face, knocking him over. On the ground, a few snakes drilled out of the trousers to tie up the medical ninja. Asuma said uncomfortably. Really, there is no chance for this uncle to appear. Yes. Kyosuke said, throwing Shinobu's medical ninja to Asuma and said, I will leave it to you when I get back. Isn't it? I want to carry him back to the camp? Could it be me and Hongbae? Just leave it to you, just to let your elder brother see your strength. Okay. I'm carrying it. Upon hearing this, Asuma picked up the medical ninja on his back. Hong. Well, Asuma, this guy will be miserable in this regard, and Kyosuke's heart is probably already dark. Chapter 52. Storm. The three climbed to the highest point of the clock tower and looked at Shinosuke, who had just solved the last puppet master. Seeing the medical ninja behind the little brother, he was very satisfied. There were no injuries on the three of them, which was similar to what he had guessed. Except for the few puppet masters, the rest were Jongnin, and several of them were from the bottom of the ninja, promoted. With their strength, completing this task is not a problem. Coming to the clock tower easily, Shinosuke said, very well, let's go, and someone will come to take over this town next. Their task is to regain lost ground. As for garrisoning is not their task, the top management will send others over. Yes. The three nodded, followed behind Shinosuke, and went back together. After returning to the camp, Asuma was panting, carrying an adult on her back. It was a bit overwhelming. Shinosuke watched her brother suffer loss. It is a blessing to suffer loss. Shinosuke went to submit the task, and Asuma and the others handed the medical ninja to the intelligence department in the camp, digging out all the information this guy knew, and seeing if they could find a detoxification method. The poison in Sandyuki village is a must-see in the world. If Tsunade, one of the three ninjas, had not been in the last war, the number of people who died in Konoha would have doubled. This time Tsunade is gone, even if there is Oshimaru. There are experts who play drugs, and they can't stand it. He is just good at poisoning, but he is not as good as Tsunade for detoxification. One is to kill people, the other is to save people. The system is different. As the commander-in-chief of Konoha's front line, he didn't have so much time to prepare antidote. He could only use some drugs to delay the death of those poisoned ninjas. The war is so helpless. The three of them went out and returned to their camp and found that Yuri Zhenhong hadn't returned yet. It seemed that their mission was still not over. After all, Shangren was different from their Zongren. They would take the B-level mission if they survived. But Shangnin is an A or even S-level mission. Shinosuke walked in and said, fix it up. There will be a new task tomorrow, and I will regain lost ground. Now Konoha's urgent task is to drive San Shinobu out of the land of Fireland, so most of their current tasks are this, and there is no choice. Yes. After taking over the task, Shinosuke said, I still have things to deal with. Take a good rest, but beware of the assassination troops in Cheyenne village at night. They have already attacked once. Yes. The three of them responded, then went to dinner and went to bed after coming back to wash. Shinji has set up a few snakes at the door. If there are puppets, they will remind them, don't worry about anything, just sleep peacefully. Advertisement. After breakfast the next morning, Shinosuke came and took them to another town. Said, this mission is the same as last time, but there is no medical ninja. What we have to do is to kill Sand Ninja without leaving. Understood. It's up to me this time, Asuma said excitedly. Don't be too impulsive, you too, Hong said helplessly. Shinosuke said, be careful to avoid all San Shinobu's attacks, understand? All of their weapons may be mixed with toxins. In addition, when they encounter the puppet master, run away as soon as possible. The puppet masters are not something they can handle. I don't know what mechanism the puppet has. The possibility of being trapped to death is extremely high. Unless they are experienced, few ninjas can live in the hands of a puppet whose whole body is a mechanism. Come down. That. Kyosuke raised his hand. I don't need to run away, physical attacks are not effective on my body. Shinosuke recalled the information about him, nodded, and said, it's true, you don't need it, Asuma is still red, you two remember to run. Big brother, I'm not that weak. Asuma dissatisfied and said that he felt that he was underestimated by his elder brother. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Shinosuke frowned and said, observe, you know how many jins are a few pounds yourself, and this is not the place for you to play a little temper. He has a headache. Is this the rebellious period coming? But you are not an agent. I am immune to physical attacks. Poisoning is a death. There is no effective detoxification method. Asuma, as a ninja, give me obedience to the arrangement. Yes. Asuma responded unhappily. He just didn't want his eldest brother to look down upon it. Of course he knows the danger, but it feels really bad to be distrusted by his family. Kyosuke patted him on the shoulder and said, okay, Asuma, stop making trouble. Captain Shinosuke is also for your own good. After all, the poison on Shinobu is too disgusting. You don't want to die after being poisoned. Your mother scolded you as an unfilial son in front of the Consolation Monument with tears and tears, right? Asuma drooped her head. I see. He suddenly came back to his senses. Hey, are you really my teammate? Would you like me to be better? Oh, advertisement. Well, don't make trouble. In that case, Kyosuke and I attacked head-on, and you two focused on assassination. Okay. Everyone set foot on the place where they performed the task. This time they needed to deal with a stronghold of San Shinobu, which was built on a mountain and built on a wall built with soil. A group of San Shinobu stood on guard. Shinosuke in the distance said, Asma, you take the red circle, and Kyosuke and I are responsible for attracting firepower. Understand? Okay, let's go. The four dispersed. Kyosuke followed Shinosuke, and the two sprinted one after the other. Shinosuke said, Kyosuke, just use your best fighting method to fight. Remember to leave some chakras. Got it. The two rushed out of the protection of the forest. San Shinobu on the wall immediately spotted them. They were about to attack, but Shinosuke's kunai throws them down, and several people were not killed. They shouted, the enemy attacked the enemy. Konoha's the ninja is here. Wind escaped thousand cut wind. Numerous wind blades flew over, and Shinosuke quickly sealed the seal, and with a slap with both hands, the earth flow wall rose to block the wind blade. Kyosuke strode forward, ignoring the shredded body, and regrouping anyway, there is nothing to pay attention to. Shadow clone technique. The shadow clone rushed to the gate, and he himself rushed up the city wall in 3 steps and 2 steps. The next second, with a bang, the city gate was exploded by the shadow clone. Good job. Shinosuke laughed and looked at San Shinobu rushing out of the city gate, and smiled. Come on, San Shinobu chops. Fire escaped the art of fire. He opened his mouth and spit out, a pillar of fire spurted out, and poured into the city gate in one breath. There were screams, and I don't know how many people died under this move. On the city wall, Kiyomizu ignored San Shinobu's physical attack and shouted, Flame Vortex. The fire tornado appeared on the city wall and began to wreak havoc. Chapter 53. Mission completed. Hurry. Stop them. Konoha's ninjas are crazy. The ninjas in Cheyenne village panicked. Facing such a crazy attack, some of the ninjas who had not experienced war suddenly lost their positions. At this time, a middle-aged ninja shouted at them, What are you panicking? You are the ninjas of Cheyenne village, go up and attack for me, attack. Water escaped the art of the great waterfall. Although Cheyenne village is located in a desert area, it is not that no one knows how to escape from water, and it uses very advanced water escape. A torrent extinguished the fire tornado, and Kiyomizu jumped up. If there is water on his body, there is no way to use elementalization without drying. The body curled up into a ball in the air, and a dazzling flame burned on his body. It opened suddenly, forming a big character in the air, and the flame flew out from the whole body. Big characters exploded. Boom. The big characters burst down, killing 3 unlucky ghosts. F*K. The chakra silk thread tied a dozen kunai and controlled the kunai to fly out, passing through the body of Kyosuke who had just fallen, but nothing happened. Firefly Fire Dharma. His hands turned pale green, and countless firefly-like sparks flew out of his hands, floating around. What is this? A San Shinobu touched. Do not touch. Someone reminded it, but it was too late. At the moment that San Ninja touched him, countless sparks flew towards him and stuck on his body. It couldn't be taken no matter how to shoot, and the temperature was still very high. Shinzuki snapped his fingers. Bang 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 bang. Those sparks exploded in an instant, and the San Nin body was put down in tatters. Kill this brat. San Shinobu roared and rushed forward. Shinosuke rushed in and saw San Shinobu who had gathered together and rushed towards Kyosuke, laughed and said, That's right. Advertisement The speed of Jin on the hand is extremely fast, and he presses it on the ground, Tuden Tudyu River. The originally solid ground under the San Shinobu's feet suddenly softened, and his feet sank in. In front of him, muddy mud flows washed over them, drowning them with screams. He can't do all 5 escapes like his dad. It's okay to only be proficient in 1 or 2 disciplines. He is the most proficient in Tudang, followed by Huo Dang. Click, click, click. The puppet flew up, opened his mouth, and flew out countless poisonous steel needles. Shinosuke immediately sealed the seal, Tuden Tuyubi. The earth wall rose to block the attack for him, and Kyosuke said, Captain, find a way to avoid it. Not to remind him to avoid the enemy, but to avoid his attack. Shinjizuki understood it, and immediately used the soil to escape into the soil. Shinzuki gathered his strength, and flames rose out of thin air on the surrounding ground, and finally flew to him. Raising his hand, a large number of flames formed a fireball in his hand, and it was rapidly expanding. The flames were raging, the scorching heat was uncomfortable, and it was like holding a sun in Kyosuke's hands. Looking at this scary scene, all you can do is run. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi, run. He tore his throat and shouted this sentence in the loudest voice, but it was too late. It's too late. Great Yanjia Yandi. He smashed a fireball the size of a building in his hand, and the entire square exploded. Amidst the deafening roar, everything around was destroyed. Even the solid city wall was flattened, and a large hole appeared on the ground. The charred soil exudes a strange smell. A group of flames gathered. Kyosuke walked out, breathing heavily. Shinosuke got out of the soil, looked around, sucked in a cold breath, turned to look at Kyosuke and said, You are too ruthless to act. Those non-human shaped things over there should be corpses, right? It's all turned into carbon. May there be no war in heaven. It's too troublesome to deal with them one by one. It's better to do this. Shook his head. Kyosuke felt that it was the right way to solve it in one go. Asma and Hong are behind. I guess they haven't arrived yet. Then continue fighting, saying that the stronghold here should be useless? Advertisement. No, it's useless, don't you think? Shinosuke's mouth twitched. He probably knew what this guy was thinking, and stopped. Don't use this kind of wasteful chakra technique. Okay. Just now, the great Yanjia Yan Emperor used more than half of his own chakra, which was very destructive, and that was enough. Then, leave the rest to us, Kyosuke said with a smile. Shinosuke nodded. Let's go. Originally, they were going to spend some time fighting with Shinzuki, but Asuma and the others touched in to assassinate them. Now it seems that they don't need it. Who knows that this little guy also has a clearing ninjutsu? Are all ninjas now freaks? The two of them stepped into the camp of the cottage one after the other. There was a group of ninjas inside, but they had no resistance in front of them. They were either burned to death by Kyosuke or killed by Shinosuke using various ninjutsu. To say that Shinosuke deserves to be the eldest son of Sarutobi Hizen, there are so many ninjutsu skills, and there are so many kinds of ninjutsu that sand endures, and there are no heavy ones. During the period, the two Asuma, who had arrived late, saw that Shinjia and the others had already killed them, and felt annoyed that they had arrived late. They immediately joined the battle, and a group of 4 people killed them. Run, run. They are the devil. The devil. Sha Ren was frightened, and the remaining Sha Ren no longer insisted, and became a deserter. Shinjia asked, do you want to chase? You don't need to chase. Now Sawa and Konoha are robbing territory. After returning, even if Sawa can move, there is nothing we can do. We should retreat. Shinosuke groaned, and said, this group of deserters will also go back. We'll be punished, we don't have to chase. Don't chase the poor, and no one knows whether this group of guys will set up traps. In terms of organ traps, Cheyenne Village can be said to be top-notch in the ninja world. Understood. Okay, we should go back. Shinosuke said, the task here has been completed. All we need to do now is to report the task and wait for the next task. This is the life of a ninja, receiving tasks, completing tasks, reporting tasks, resting, and receiving tasks. Such a cycle, before the end of the war, their daily routine is like this. It's just that the task now is far more difficult than the task in peacetime. For 2 full months, Konoha acted according to the plan, and finally drove Sand Shinobu from the territory of the Fire Country, and the war changed from a small-scale battle to a large-scale battle. The battlefield has also moved to the country of the river. Here Konoha ninja also began to show their fists. Oshimaru was preparing to take the river country in one fell swoop and hit the opposite wind country. At that time, it is estimated that the wind country daimyo will surrender, and Cheyenne village must also withdraw. Not every country is like the fire country daimyo, let the ninja village come to chaos. Chapter 54 Assassination Squad. The relationship between each daimyo and the head of Shinobu is very complicated. Before the end of the Warring States period, the ninjas were a group of mercenaries running for a living. It was hired by those countries and wealthy businessmen to siege and seize the land for them. Senju and Uchiha were among the best. Later, the first generations of Naruto Senjujuma and Uchiha Madara founded Konoha Shinobu Village. After being affirmed by the name of the Fire Country, they officially became the official combat power of the Fire Country. Ninja Village appeared in other countries shortly after. Ninja Village only needs to pay some military expenses every year. As for other times, Ninja Village can get hiring funds by accepting tasks. When there is no war, the warriors in their family are just a group of idlers who eat dry food, and they can also work for security. You can save a lot of money by handing it to a ninja. After an account is settled, the nerd knows what to choose. The daimyo of the country of fire has always been smart people who know how to choose. Let Konoha come casually. After all, he knew that his abilities were simply not enough to order that the first, second, and third Hokage were all ruthless men killed during the war. As long as they don't endanger the safety of the country and themselves, they can come as they please. This is the country of fire. The name of the Kingdom of Wind is different. A large area of the land in the Kingdom of Wind is desert, just one word, poor. Cheyenne village is also poor, and the money to accept the task cannot sustain the consumption of the village, so at this time it still needs funding from the country of the wind, which also blacks the chance of the name of the country of the wind to use them. Without him, it's just to cut down on funding. The key is this, and it can eat Cheyenne village to death. In fact, the status of Cheyenne village is very embarrassing, and the strength of the Kingdom of Wind is just like that. If it is not located in the desert zone, it has been occupied long ago, and a piece of sand farming is not good enough. There are really few natural resources that can be used here. Even if the land is occupied, it doesn't take long for people to leave by themselves. After all, they can't get anything by guarding a piece of sand. This is also the reason why the Wind Country daimyo often cuts funding. It is optional and wastes his money. It is better to ask a group of people to protect himself with this money, as long as he is okay. Fortunately, although he was uncomfortable seeing Cheyenne village, he was still not cerebral palsy. Without dissolving Cheyenne village, it was still useful during the war. Yanyan village attacked the Kingdom of Wind, while Cheyenne village was defensive. It attacked the more prosperous Fire Kingdom. This wave is nothing. Advertisement. After occupying a large area of the land of the country of fire, the name of the country of wind is happy. The country of fire is much richer than his own. It is profitable to exchange a piece of sand for the fertile forest soil. Only afterwards, Cheyenne village lost the territory he had just beaten down, and his whole body was unhappy. Immediately ordered that if the defeat is lost, the funding will be reduced. After all, the compensation will be paid if the defeat is lost. Where does the money come from? Of course it came from the funds for Cheyenne village. After the Sand Ninjas retreated from the territory of the Land of Fire, their status was different. They were extremely fierce on large-scale battlefields. Sometimes Oshimaru had to avoid their sharp edges. Now our front is stretched, and most of the forces on the battlefield are loose and unable to concentrate. Oshimaru said to the battle on the sand table. The land sand table of the river nation is placed in front of everyone. In many places, there are battlefields of Konoha and Sand Shinobu, forming a battle line that runs through almost the entire river nation. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Master Oshimaru. but concentration is not a good thing now. Nara Shikahisa from the Nara family suggested, if you concentrate your forces now, you might be noticed by Nara because of your big moves. If you go around and get attacked on your back, it will be very detrimental to our battle. The Nara clan are smart people, and Konoha can act as a military commander. For them, Osamaru will also accept suggestions. He glanced at the sand table and nodded, as Lu Ju-kun said, this is really not a good thing, but if you continue to stretch the front, Konoha's supply line will also be stretched, and it is not a long-term solution to consume those guys. With Konoha's logistics reserves, 2.5 sand-hidden villages were consumed. It's just that the Land of Fire is not only a battlefield here. Recently, the fog-hidden village is also about to move. It seems that there is an offensive plan. Konoha's ninja is already there. There has been a small-scale friction, and it is estimated that it will start soon. The battle between the border of the Fire Country and Yanyan Village is also going on, and Yanyan Village is not easy to deal with. We must also guard against the Country of Rain and the Country of Soil. The current Country of Fire can be said to be surrounded by a group of enemies. The scale of their war here is the largest, and there must be no accidents. Stretching the front is definitely not a long-term solution. After thinking about it, he said, Shinosuke, you took Kyosuke-kun and formed a surprise team to carry out the assassination and set off immediately. Advertisement Lu Ju asked suspiciously. Oshimaru-sama, Shinosuke's strength is indeed good, but what Shinzuki said. Lu Ju-kun, Kyosuke-kun is my disciple, I naturally have enough confidence in him. The destructive power that Shinjia can cause is terrible enough, and as long as Shui Dun and Chakra are not enough, he is immortal. In this state, it is completely possible to form a surprise team with the powerful Shinosuke. I understand. Of course, the assassination team is not just them, there are other people. What you have to do is to assassinate and disrupt the rhythm of Shinobu. Oshimaru decided to send a team of surprise soldiers to break the deadlock. Yes. Shinosuke nodded, preparing to call Shinzuki together. Go to the medical unit to get the antidote. I spent time preparing the antidote. I also gave this list to the clearing agent. After the antidote is used up, let him see the match. He took out a piece of paper and handed it to Shinosuke. Oshimaru said, you go to the logistics office to receive enough supplies. It is best if you can cut off their battle lines. I understand. After collecting the list, Shinosuke walked out of the camp. On the other hand, Dashimaru began to select suitable assassination team members, and they used this strange soldier to pierce through the battle line of the sand-hidden village, thus opening the battle. This is also a last resort, assassination squad, such a surprise, it doesn't matter if you don't need it, after all, most people have nothing to do with them. Of these people sent out, 1/10 would come back, thank goodness. But for Oshimaru, it is okay to trade the lives of these people for victory in the battle. This is a necessary sacrifice. Even if there are 3 generations of Hokage's sons and his own disciples, all of them can be sacrificed. If they die, it means that their strength is not enough to survive on this cruel battlefield, then their lives are meaningless. It is absolutely feasible for a meaningless life to be used in exchange for victory. For Konoha's victory, pay the price that can be paid. Chapter 55. Murder in the night. Kyosuke received the assassination mission with Shinosuke and was stunned. He didn't think that he would become a member of the assassination squad with his own ability, and he would still be with Shinosuke, but he still accepted the task. After all, it was Oshimaru who issued this task, his teacher, who sent himself and Shinosuke out to silence some people. The 3 generations of Hokage and my own disciples have been sent out, what are you going to spend here? He can't go. Captain Shinosuke, where are we going now? On the way, Shinjia asked. Shinosuke said, we directly bypassed the battle line with San Shinobu, cut off their supplies, and cleared them. We will go deep behind the enemy line, and there is a high possibility that we will not return. The risk of the assassination mission is extremely high. The moment they are sent out, they are no different from the abandoned sons. If they win, they will be promoted, and if they lose, they will die. Cut off Shein's supplies, but their logistics forces are not so easy to spot, Shinzuki said. There are seal scrolls, just wear a few scrolls, and 1 or 2 ninjas move on a small scale. It is almost impossible to find the supply troops in Shein village. That's right, but it's impossible for them not to send the supplies to Shein camp. They just need to wait for the rabbits on their only way. All they need to do is go around to the back of the big camp in Shein village, figure out their transportation route, and then kill with 1 blow. I understand. After trying to understand, Kyosuke and Shinosuke speed up, they need to bypass the blockade of those sands first. Kaisuke, be careful, we have entered the battlefield of Shinobu, there may be traps around here, we must be careful. Shinjizuki reminded him that he broke a wire that was as thin as a hair as soon as he stepped out, affecting the mechanism. Kuwu and shuriken were launched from blind spots, with detonating charms tied to them. Boom. Shinosuke retreated, his complexion suddenly hard to look like, it was not terrible to affect the trap, but terrible was that it would lead away the enemy, and the start was unfavorable. Throw a dark mask to Kyosuke, saying, the assassin must be assassinated, so cover your face first. Oh. Putting on the mask, Shinjia made a sound, and found that his voice was thicker. There was a voice change technique on the mask, which could change the voice, and it could be firmly attached to the face without using a strap. Advertisement: the vision will not be affected, still very good. Shinosuke also put on the Anbu mask, and his voice became rugged, and said, Sarah Shinobu is approaching. There are only 3 people, all of them are killed, 1 is not left. Understand. Scatter. The 2 separated and went into hiding. Soon after, the 3 San Shinobu ran over to check, and the secret Shinosuke launched an offensive, Tokuden Tutaka spear. Suddenly, soil thorns appeared on the ground under those people's feet, piercing through the body of a sand ninja who had not reacted, and the other two reacted well and jumped onto the tree. There is an enemy. It must be Konoha's ninjas. They're hiding. A shinobu snorted and said, hurry up and inform the camp. It is good. The other sand shinobu was about to move. With a pain in his ankle, a snake bit it. Then several large snakes rushed out from a tree on one side and wrapped up the sand shinobu's body without giving him a chance to report. In the screaming, the snake strangled him to death. C. Lang. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Seeing the tragic death of his brother, the last sand was furious. Shinosuke came to his back and said coldly, don't worry, you will accompany him soon, but before that, you still have use value. The Black Seal spell kills and climbs onto his body. After Shinosuke takes control of him, he starts to use illusions to ask useful information. After getting the specific number of sand shinobi at the front camp, the big snake summoned by Kyosuke strangled and swallowed it in his stomach. There are a total of 56 ninjas gathered in the camp ahead, plus the 3 we killed, and 53 are left. The supply troops will return once a week. They came once the day before and need to wait until next week. Will come, so there is no need to waste time, clear the introduction. What we have left to do is to wipe out these 53 people. Do you have a good plan? Isn't it over if you kill them all? A perfect assassination is to kill all the witnesses, so all we have to do is kill them all. The perfect assassin kills all the witnesses. He is said to be an assassin, but he is actually a berserker. Plan. What is that? This. Shinosuke wiped the cold sweat on his forehead and said, we can't be so reckless, we don't have support, so we must try to avoid injury as much as possible. Once severely injured, the action will be affected, and the assassination will be affected at that time. Advertisement, understood. When they are sleeping, I will let the snake kill them, Shinji said. This is a way. If you release the snake, you can minimize the frontal collision with Sand Shinobu, and you don't need to worry too much about your own safety. After agreeing to this plan, Shinosuke led Kyosuke towards the camp of the 50-odd people. They are not too close, they are easy to be found, and they hide their breath. The two of them start to rest and recharge their energy. This night, it will be a fierce battle. In the middle of the night, the two opened their eyes almost at the same time. Wake up, hunt for the moment. Crossing the defense line silently, Shinosuke killed the 3 sands who were patrolling the night. In the grass, Shinzuki-ji and Psychic Art. A large number of colorful snakes with triangular heads appeared in the grass and said, go, kill them. These venomous snakes twisted their bodies and crawled towards the camp. The crawling sound of snakes is so slight that even experienced ninjas with strong hearing will sometimes ignore it subconsciously. They clung to the ground, got into the tent, and did not disturb the resting sand ninjas. They bit on the skin of those sand ninjas, and their fangs injected the venom into the body. The pain awakened those Sharon, and saw the poisonous snake biting him, and for a while, the soul was in a panic. Immediately killed the poisonous snake with Kuu, waking up the companions around him, and found that he was also bitten by the poisonous snake. The dark camp suddenly became lively and brightly lit, and the 2 medical ninjas immediately analyzed the toxins, trying to save the lives of their companions. Damn Konoha ninja. Actually use this kind of trick. Disgusting. Disgusting. I don't want to die yet, I want to live. Doctor, help me, please help me. Help me, doctor. My grandfather is the elder of the village, help me. The camp suddenly became chaotic. At this time, Shinosuke and Kyosuke began to move. Chapter 56, Hunting Intelligence Squad. Sharon's camp has become a mess of porridge, and this is a good time to fish in troubled waters. Ready to go, Kyosuke, Shinosuke said, os. The two rushed into the chaotic camp like phantoms. Boom. With a roar, the flame erupted, and Kiyomizu turned into a flame and appeared behind a person. The flame in his hand was compressed into a circular saw with sharp serrations. It spun quickly, grabbed it in his hand, and smashed it at the person's head, under. What? With a scream, his body parted. The high-temperature flame scorched the wound, and his life ended without even splattering blood. Enemy attack. After the reaction, Sand Shinobu immediately organized a manpower to start a counterattack. Kunai, shuriken, senbon and other poisoned weapons shot in one after another. Kyosuke had no intention of evading, allowing himself to be penetrated by a sharp blade. Crossed his arms in front of his chest, then pulled up and down, and a blade of flame flew out instantly. Vertical guillotine. Cut one person easily, without stopping, Captain. Shinosuke understood what he meant, and immediately used the soil to create a stone pillar at Kyosuke's feet and lifted him up. Rotating in the air for 3.5 weeks, and kicking out with the speed of falling, the flames on the feet are particularly obvious, just like the sun piercing the night, and the dawn quietly crossed the horizon. Leo Fei kick. Boom. As soon as the shot went down, it plunged into the 3 of them like a cannonball. Psychic art. A python hugged by more than a dozen adults appeared in the camp. Kyosuke stood on the snake's head and said, eat them. As soon as there was food to eat, the snake's eyes lit up, and a strange light shone in the cold snake's pupils. Advertisement cooked rice. Cooked rice, cooked rice. Ignoring the shuriken and kunai flying towards him, he blocked the attack with the hard scales on his body, swallowing several sand ninjas in one bite, and the huge body rolled on the ground, killing several sand ninjas. Shinosuke was not idle either. He dragged a few puppet masters of the ninja level. Seeing that Kyosuke had speeded up this time, he was not ready to hide himself. Psychic art. Bang. A white-haired monkey standing alone, dressed in clothes and wearing Konoha's forehead appeared next to him and said, "Shinosuke, what can I do?" Of course it's fighting, ape power, transforming into a King Kong wishful stick. The Sarumo clan has signed a psychic contract with the Sarutobi clan for generations. As the son of the third generation of Hokage, Shinosuke naturally also has the power of the monkey. Standing on the tree, posing in a strange posture, he said, "Understand? Come on, war." Bang. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. A golden iron rod with two golden ends and a pitch black in the middle fell into Shinosuke's hands. As Shinosuke waved the bodies of the puppets for a long time, they were broken. In front of the hard King Kong wishful stick, these wooden puppets were like chickens. "Ah, don't kill me, Yumiro. I will go home to get married after this battle." "No. Miss Yoko, I can't confess to you." Flame vortex. Chingia rolled up a flame tornado and raged into camp. The flames dyed half of the sky. He stood on the head of a giant snake like a demon, taking the lives of others indifferently. This is the coldness of war. The flames swallowed everything. Under the attack of Shinosuke and Kyosuke, the sand ninja camp with more than 50 people left, no one left. Even if they escaped, they died because of the poison of the poisonous snake. Looking at the scorched area, Shinosuke patted Kyosuke's shoulder and said, "Let's go, let's find a place to rest. If you feel uncomfortable, you can talk to me. It's nothing, this is war, there is no reason for undead." He shook his head and declined Shinosuke's kindness. When he joined the war, he had no choice but to complete the task to protect himself. Advertisement. Well, let's go, we should go to rest. After busying most of the night, it is also time to go to rest. The assassination team does not rest. Kyosuke suddenly asked, "Captain Shinosuke, have you got any information?" "Don't worry, when you harvested those sand shinobu, I completed the collection of information. Shinosuke is still very stable, unlike Kyosuke who was already mad at the time, he still knows what to do. The intelligence in the hands of those Shangren is enough for their activities in the last few days, and the assassination will soon be incapable of hiding it. At that time, it is estimated that Sarah will adjust the strategy, and the information in their hands will be worthless." The two found a hidden place to rest. Shinosuke gave the information he rode to Kyosuke and asked him to use the psychic beast to send it to Oshimaru. In addition to the information, there was also a task summary, which can also be regarded as a collection of military exploits for Kyosuke and himself. Up. Liming slipped across the horizon quietly, Kyosuke and Shinosuke's figures shuttled through the woods. They didn't take a long time to rest, because the information obtained last night indicated that the intelligence department of Ninja Village came to collect Konoha ninjas collected in the camp. Corpse, go back and research intelligence. So this time, Kyosuke and the others are going to ambush Sarah Shinobu's intelligence department. As the intelligence department, they know a lot of information, so this wave must be won steadily. "Captain, is it too risky for us to do this? The intelligence agencies that can rush around during the war are definitely not the idle generation, and forbearance is for sure, and there may not be less." Shinosuke said, "I also know the dangers, but the opportunity is not to be missed. I can only take a risk." As the so-called seeking wealth and danger, the two of them had a very clear goal, which was to grab a sand shinobu, then turned their heads and ran away. A person may have limited information, but if it is an intelligence department, it's different. They have a lot of information, including Konoha and Shyak. No matter which side they are, they have use value, especially it's in the hands of Dashawan. The two quickly approached the mission target. According to the information of Shangnin, the intelligence personnel walked this way. They stopped at a place suitable for an ambush. Shinosuke and Kyosuke began to set traps. After doing all this, they became concealed. After waiting for about half an hour, a ninja team appeared, dressed in sandy khaki clothes, with cloth wrapped around their heads and face towels on their faces, and the four formed a formation and drove on their way. Two of them had two scrolls tied behind their backs, and they didn't know what was inside. At this time, the protected person raised his head, threw two handfuls of kunai, and flew towards the hiding place of Kyosuke and Shinosuke respectively. There was Fengyun chakra attached to it, which immediately penetrated the trees. Shinosuke avoided, and Kyosuke. A hole was opened in his head. It's not that he didn't hide on purpose, but he really didn't react. "Master." As the man launched an attack, the four-man team stopped, fully guarded. "Konoha's ninja, come out, I have found you." Chapter 57 Advance the front. Cut. Perceptual ninja? Shinosuke suddenly understood that the sensing ninja could perceive the enemy's chakra, and it seemed that their chakra had been discovered. But the guy in front of him should be more perceptive, otherwise he wouldn't be discovered so close. Earth escape earth flowing river. When a mudslide appeared, the sand ninja group of four walked out, immediately sealed, and patted with both hands. Tudun Tulia wall. The stone wall rises, blocking the mudslide, over there. Sensing the fluctuation of Shinosuke chakra, he immediately pointed out his direction. Knowing that he had exposed his identity, Shinosuke didn't talk nonsense, rushed out, took a Konoha dark knife and aimed it at the most central sentient ninja and chopped it down. Clang, a puppet appeared, held his knife, and opened his mouth wide. Thousands of books flew out and penetrated his body. The next second, Shinosuke turned into mud. Soil stand in. Seeing this, Kiyomizu slayed directly, grabbing Kuu's sting, and the puppet once again blocked the attack. Shinbin shot out, piercing through the body. The puppet master smiled and said, "The cunning Konoha ninja, is it a stand-in again?" However, what happened immediately made him unable to laugh. Shinzuki did not dissipate, but grabbed the head of the puppet, and the flames burst out, turning the puppet into ashes. Scatter. The formation suddenly dispersed, which was really what Kyosuke and Shinosuke wanted, and it was difficult for them to break through the formation. Immediately rushed to the perception ninja, and the two closest to him rushed towards Kyosuke. The technique of multiple shadow clones. Several shadow clones rushed out, hugged the two people who rushed in, and exploded with a bang. The puppet master and the perception ninja looked at Shinzuki in horror, as if they were looking at a monster. Advertisement: this guy is not an ordinary ninja. Immediately there was a decision in their hearts, and the two rushed out to both sides one after another. Ignoring the puppet master at all, Kyosuke rushed towards the perception ninja. You, don't come here. The perception type ninja was frightened by him. That kind of explosion is not something his body can resist. It must run. But so what? You can't run away, you are destined to die in my hands, Kyosuke said softly. Huh. That's not necessarily true. Success. I smashed it with a punch, but I was sense. I avoided it in advance, and hit the ground with a punch. The sleeve on my arm moved a bit, and he pulled out his arm and said, you can hide, you are really a perception type ninja. Don't underestimate Nina. Konoha's B****************. You will be defeated by our Nina. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Come on, you are a group of poor ghosts. If Wuyan hadn't killed himself, you would be the weakest of the 5 ninja villages, and you would be able to bully other little ninja villages. Shinzuki initiated a verbal taunt and directly turned on the map gun. We are very strong at Shinobu. Didn't you Konoha be caught off guard by us at the beginning? If it weren't for the bastards of Union, you Konoha is not our Naruto opponent at all. As he said, he seemed to be proud of his village, but it had nothing to do with him. This is, he said suddenly, you are delaying time, are you? Your teammate Chakra is getting farther and farther away. It should be chasing my companion. You don't have the strength to catch me, huh? A waste of time. I never do unnecessary things. If it is not necessary, I will not waste time with you. Kyosuke smiled, it was time. A snake burrowed out of the soil, wrapped around the sensing ninja's body, and bit his neck with one bite. Suddenly, a large amount of snake venom was injected into his body. Tied his body, Kyosuke patted his gradually pale face, and said, don't underestimate me, don't rely too much on your own perception ability, not everything can be perceived, at least, your perception the ability is not enough. Sensing abilities can be strong or weak. The strong can perceive even the ultra-long distance ninja chakra, and the weaker can only perceive nearby chakras, and even the enemy must use the chakra to perceive it. The snake he psyched up possesses a very small amount of chakra, even if he perceives it, like nature, it is best to use sneak attacks. Advertisement: after holding this guy, Shinosuke returned with the maimed puppet master. The guy's arms were twisted. Once the puppet master couldn't control the puppet with his hands, it would be a waste. Shinosuke brought him back easily. Psychic art. A big snake appeared, swallowed the two into his stomach under the control of Kyosuke, and then disappeared. These two guys will bring a lot of information to Konoha. The assassination missions of Kyosuke and Shinosuke continued. The war also continues. As the assassination troops attacked, the line of defense laid by Sand Ninja was pierced. This strange soldier played a role, and the battle line was suddenly pushed to the border between the country of wind and the country of river. The assassination unit that Shinzuki was in was also recalled by Oshimaru, not 1 in 10. Shinosuke and Kyosuke were able to return intact, but the remaining assassination team sent out by Oshimaru returned with few people, and they came back with injuries. After the war had been fought for so long, Sagakura began to focus on defense. On the battlefield, Osamu had several encounters with Sun Shinobu's current temporary leader, Chiyo, but the result was very unsatisfactory. He did not take down the antique. Kyosuke stepped on the yellow sand. This is the territory of the Kingdom of Wind. He came out to spy on intelligence. Oshimaru and the others didn't worry that he would die. As long as Chakra wouldn't be exhausted and didn't encounter ninjas who were good at sealing, Kyosuke arrived. You can retreat everywhere. Wearing a robe to avoid large areas of skin contact with the sun to prevent sunburn, and a scarf on the face, the country of wind is really not good, the climate here is really bad, people here don't know are you planting trees? There must be underground water veins underground, otherwise, the villages that live deep in the desert would have died. Reasonable use of water resources, tree planting and afforestation, green water and green mountains are the Golden Mountains and Silver Mountains. I don't know what the first generation of Funging thinks, since the first generation of Naruto wants to make good friends with the other 4 ninja villages, then take the opportunity to let the first generation of Naruto use Myu-dun to improve the environment in the country of the wind. With the first generation of Hokage's character, a benevolence, righteousness, and morality, I promise to be dizzy and happily help the Kingdom of Wind to plant trees in a forest. Even the second generation of Hokage is not easy to stop. After all, this is saving people. I shouldn't have taken on this task of spying on intelligence. I haven't even seen a person after walking for a long time. Tisk, this day is really uncomfortable. Wait, is there an oasis? Oasis appeared in the distance. There is an oasis. It also shows the hope of living again. Chapter 58. Is it too late to change the psychic beast? After confirming that it is not a mirage, Shinzuki speeds up. In the desert, there is hope when there is an oasis, which also means that there is gathering of life here. As long as someone who isn't Sand Shinobu is here, everything is easy to say. Stepping across the sand dunes, stepping into the oasis, hiding under the poplar tree, getting cool, sitting on the ground, taking a deep breath, I'm alive. I really don't know how the people of Sand Shinobu survived. If he were to live in the desert for many years, he would definitely die. He is not Bai Yi and starving to, and he doesn't have the perverted ability to survive in the wild. After resting for a while, he patted his butt. He was going to find a water source. Although he had brought enough water, he was prepared. Walking towards the depths of the oasis, I found something wrong as I walked. Except for the sounds of some animals, there were no other sounds. Logically speaking, an oasis is an extremely cherished resource in the desert. It is impossible for the people of the Kingdom of Wind not to camp here, but no one can see it here, and there is no Sharon stationed here. There was a smell of rust in the air. This is the smell of blood. The smell of human blood came from the air, the alarm bell in my heart, holding my breath, hiding behind the tree. With the constant approach, there was a mountain of corpses piled up beside a pool of water in front, and blood stained the sandy ground. All these corpses were the corpses of Sand Shinobu. At the edge of the pool, a handsome young man with red hair was sitting on the side, seriously processing a corpse, as if he was transforming the corpse into what he wanted. The scene was bloody and terrifying, but the boy didn't change his face. His eyes were indifferent but serious, as if he was doing his job seriously. Seeing this scene, his breathing was messed up, and the red-haired boy moved his fingers, and dozens of kuwu suddenly floated up and shot towards Shinzuki. Even if he hides behind the tree, these kunai are like growing eyes, attacking frantically. The red-haired boy stood up, frowned, the chakra line on his fingers flicked, and those kuwu flew over. There was no blood on it, but it was extremely hot. Really, I would get into this troublesome guy. Shinzuki felt the headache died, and without saying anything, he rushed out of the oasis. Advertisement: this guy is definitely not something he can deal with, so he has to run. It looks like a ninja. I don't know what it would be like to make a puppet. The red-haired boy showed a smile, using the cutest expression, and said terrible things. Put away the unfinished products on the ground, and then he chased them up. You can't escape. The red-haired boy was chasing, and the speed was much faster, such as Shinjia. He took out a scroll, banged, and a puppet appeared in his hand. Click, click, click. The puppet's body flew, and thousands of copies were spit out from his mouth, which penetrated Shinsuke's body without stopping his footsteps. The red-haired boy was taken aback and saw the flame on his body make up for the wound. Seeing this scene, he even more interested. You were very funny. Making you a puppet will be a great work, and it will become my eternal artwork. Are you crazy? He cursed, knowing that he couldn't run away, turned around, and raised his hand. Yan Shangzhen. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. A wall of fire rose and lay between the two. The red-haired boy put away the puppet in his hand and took out the other one. If there is Sand Ninja, he will definitely recognize the true identity of this puppet, and it is the 3 generations of Fengying who have been missing for a long time. The disappearance of the 3 generations of Fengying led to a large-scale search for Cheyenne Village, and the news was leaked. Yanyan Village took advantage of the fire and looted, and the Third Ninja World War broke out. The red-haired boy, the senior elder of Cheyenne Village, and the grandson of a 1000-generation mother-in-law, the Scorpion of Red Sand, assassinated 3 generations of Fengying and made them puppets. It can even be said that the Third Ninja World War was fought because of this guy. Because Konoha White Fang died in a mission, the unrequited Scorpion transferred the hatred to the 3 generations of Fengying, thinking that the 3 generations of Fengying sent his parents to the battlefield. Otherwise, they would not die, so he assassinated the 3rd generation of Fengying and made him a puppet with a magnetic escape and blood inheritance boundary. Scorpion whispered. Fei Luhu is not enough to deal with this kind of battle, but this is my most proud work right now. Let me try his power. Controlling 3 generations of Fengying's hands to form unprinted hands, he summoned out of thin air to summon the sand and iron like waves, and instantly flooded the flames. Shinzuki, who had already escaped, heard the movement behind him and couldn't help cursing. Psychic. Bang. A huge black snake appeared in the desert, standing on top of the black snake's head, and said, Black snake, please. This time it is the 3rd generation of Fengying and the guy who killed the 3rd generation of Fengying. Advertisement. What do you mean by this? 3 generations of Fengying and the man who killed him? 3 generations of Fengying died in the end. The black snake asked aloud. He has been made an adult puppet, so he is equal to facing 2 shadow-level powerhouses. How about? Isn't this level of fighting vigorous enough? He remembered that the black snake said that he was not looking for it for a fight that was not strong enough. It is good now. Is this strong enough? Just to my liking. A cold light appeared in the black snake's snake eyes, facing the overwhelming sand and iron, spit out the snake letter, twisted its body, and exploded at a speed that was inconsistent with this huge body, directly rushing into the sand-iron sea waves. The thick snake tail, the scorpion, and the 3 generations of wind shadow puppets aiming at the bottom smashed down. Sand-iron wall. The sand and iron formed a hard wall far exceeding the earth flow wall. The black snake's tail lashed on it with a crisp sound, and the sand and iron wall exploded under the attack. Black sand iron but everywhere. It's really hard. The black snake said with his tail swinging. It doesn't look like it's in vain. After it's done, I want to eat this kid. Can you catch him alive? He still has utility. Forget it, but this kid is not so easy to deal with. Sand iron is very troublesome to deal with. Even if it wants to deal with it, it is inconvenient. Scorpion looked at the huge black snake and said, Are you a psychic beast? But it's okay. When it rains on sand and iron. The sand iron formed countless fine needles and shot out to the black snake at a very wide range. The black snake's body squirmed regularly. The scales of the snake were tightly clasped, and the fine sand iron needle shot on its body, making a clinking sound. The head kept swinging to avoid being hit in the eyes, and the kioske on the top of its head had been beaten into a sieve long ago. I'll go. If it wasn't for my special physique, I just disappeared. Are you really my psychic beast? The black snake snorted, if you die, it means that you are not strong enough to become my contractor. If you die, you will die. Is it too late to change the psychic beast? Chapter 59. Red Sand Scorpion. Facing the black snake's rebellious speech, Shinzuki was helpless. The snakes in Longnadong were basically all of this virtue. After thinking about it, he really couldn't escape without the black snake. But now that Black Snake is going to fight the 3 generations of Fengying and Xie, he is a little panicked. Hold your breath, the black snake said suddenly. Shinzuki immediately obeyed. The black snake took a deep breath, and his body became a lot stronger. Then, a large amount of purple poison was sprayed out of its mouth, and a radius of several hundred meters was instantly filled with the black snake's poisonous mist. Covering his nose and mouth, the scorpion stepped on the sand iron and stood in the sky, looking at the poisonous fog with extremely low visibility below, controlling the 3 generations of Fengying to use the sand iron to attack. Over there, the huge figure of the black snake was particularly conspicuous in the poisonous fog, and the iron sand condensed into various huge polygons, which fell from the sky. It's just that his attack had already been sensed by the black snake, and his body easily avoided. In the poisonous mist, it said, "Hold tight, it's up to you to shoot him down." Then he flicked his tail and threw the Kyosuke above. Breaking through the poisonous mist, Shinzuki breathed heavily and flew towards the scorpion at an extremely fast speed. Even if his body was penetrated, his face remained unchanged, and there was no pain anyway. Leo Fei kick. Burning flames on the legs, like flying fire falling stars. Magnetic escape sand iron wall. A sand iron wall received Kiyomizu's flying kick, the technique of multiple shadow clones. The main body jumped away, and the shadow avatars said in unison, "Art is an explosion." Boom. The sand iron wall was broken by the explosion of the shadow clones, revealing the indifferent face of the scorpion inside. Mirror flames. Waved out a sea of fire, the scorpion was swallowed in, and soon after, 2 figures flew out in the sea of fire. One is a 3-generation Fengying puppet, and the other is a scorpion wrapped in sand and iron. Advertisement: the sand and iron swallowed by flames on his body and in the sky collapsed and fell on the sand, just like ordinary sand. Thinking about control is no longer possible. This is high temperature demagnetization. Kyosuke said with a smile. When the temperature reaches a certain level, the magnetic force will disappear, so. He pointed the scorpion with his finger and said, "In front of this flame, your magnetism is like a chicken dog." If it wasn't for the scorpion to move fast enough, he would have been injured in the attack just now. Is it? Scorpion laughed. Rare. Your flames are still consumed by chakras. How many do you have? When it rains on sand and iron. The sand iron condensed into fine needles again, and the flames filled it, turning those sand iron into iron sand without magnetic force. Behind it, the huge body of the black snake rolled over, opening a big mouth to the scorpion and preparing to swallow him in one bite. It's just that the sand iron cube appeared, propped its mouth, flicked its head, and threw the sand iron in its mouth. Boy, I'm looking for death. A large amount of venom was expelled from his mouth open, falling on the sand iron, and suddenly a big hole was corroded. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Difficult. Xie frowned. With this psychic beast, the level of trouble he wanted to win Xinjia increased a lot. Your name? He said suddenly. Asakawa Kiyomizu, Scorpion, your grandma is at war. Oh, did you recognize me? But Grandma Chio is fighting for me. I only need to do what I want to do. Tisk. How come this voice sounds so weird? If you guys were both with your parents, would you grow into a waste like Merlin? Hearing this voice always plays like that. He jumped to the top of the black snake again and decided to run away. The scorpion was able to kill the 3rd-generation wind shadow known as the strongest wind shadow. The strength of the wind shadow is naturally strong enough. He and the black snake will not be killed after all. It's a foul, but the chakra in the body consumes a lot because of summoning the black snake and maintaining the elemental relationship of the body, and it will die if it drags on. Black snake, retreat. Back to Longdi Cave. The time for psychic has not yet arrived, and I'm sure about this kid. The black snake was unhappy. It didn't come to lead people to escape, but Shinjia wouldn't listen to her, so he lifted the spiritism and entered the Longdi Cave with the black snake. Advertisement: did it disappear? But it doesn't matter, Kyosuke Asakawa, your body will definitely be mine. Putting away the puppets, Scorpion didn't care that Kyosuke knew that he had assassinated the 3 generations of Fengying, and killed them all anyway. Unless the mother-in-law of the 1,000 generations and Ilao Zhang came together to chase him down, otherwise, the other people of Sand Ninja were not enough to make him jealous. Returning to the oasis, he decided to complete the unfinished work before. In the Longdi Cave, Hei Snake and Kyosuke appeared on the edge of the water pool. He shook Kyosuke off his head and said angrily, "Do you think I will lose? Of course not, it's just that there is not much time left, and I don't have much chakras, so I'll slip away first, and talk about it later. That person is not easy to deal with." Kyosuke sat down and said, "That guy is a genius among the puppet masters. He has killed all 3 generations of Fengying. I don't want to fight him head-on for the time being. What the hell is my luck? Why'd I also do that kind of monster, ran into? Have you been too unlucky lately? I don't care about it, only the chakra of the strong is interesting when it is swallowed. Huh, let's not take it as an example." The black snake snorted, obviously very upset, and got into the pool. Shinzuki will also return to the base camp to bring this news to Dashawan. A snake was found and swallowed himself. On the other side, the white snake on the Dashawan table raised his head. Seeing this, Dashawan immediately summoned the snake who had swallowed Shinjia through the blood contract. Running out of the snake's mouth, his body was slimy. Dashimaru said, "It looks like you have encountered a strong enemy, otherwise it is impossible to use reverse spiritism to come here from Longdi Cave." While cleaning up the slime on his body, he said, "My opponent is Chiyo's grandson, and, Mr. Oshimaru, I know who killed the 3 generations of Fengying." Hearing this, Oshimaru narrowed his eyes. "You don't want to say that Chiyo's grandson assassinated 3 generations of Fengying, did you?" "Yes. Not only that, the 3rd generation of Fengying was also made by the grandson of the 1,000 generations as a puppet that retains the blood inheritance limit. You can use the magnetic sand iron. I ran back because I accidentally touched him. The puppets who keep the blood inheritance limit. This is really ironic. The 3 generations of Fengying that can invalidate the puppets have been made into puppets. Fate always makes fun of people like this." With a mocking smile, Oshimaru said with satisfaction, "Good job, Kyosuke-san. This information of yours is very important to Konoha. It's time for your team to go back to the village to take a break after fighting for so long." Hearing that he could rest, Kyosuke's eyes lit up, and he had been in the wind and rain for so long, and finally he could have a good rest for a while. Compared with the frontline battlefield, a peaceful village is a paradise on earth. Chapter 60. Especially forbearance holidays during the war are precious. After fighting for half a year, Kyosuke and his team finally returned to Konoha. Unlike the guns and bullets on the front line and the dangers, Konoha's time seems to have stopped, and it is still what it used to be, except that there are fewer pedestrians and wealthy businessmen doing business. The 3 of Kyosuke bid farewell at the door. After returning home, they first cleaned up the dusty house with the shadow avatar, then went out to have a meal of ramen, and fell asleep on the bed when they came back. I slept in a dark night, until Asma ran over to wake herself up the next afternoon, opened the door, and asked with her messy hair, "What's the matter?" "My dad calls you. 3 generations of Naruto find yourself? Wait for me a bit." Going back to wash, after a few minutes, he walked out with his wet hair, grabbed the hair with one hand, evaporated the moisture on it, and permed himself with a hairstyle. Asma looked at it enviously, but it was a pity that his hair was too hard, otherwise he would have to let Kyosuke give herself a whole one. This ability is really convenient. Let's go. Is there anything Hokage-sama is looking for me? I don't know, the old man didn't say it. Asma shook his head, and his old man suddenly asked him to come to Chingia. He didn't say the specific reason, just let him call. Didn't say the reason? What is this for? I didn't understand what the 3rd generation of Hokage wanted to do, and said, if that's the case, let's go, so why don't you call it red? The old man didn't let me call, he was just looking for you. That's all right, don't talk nonsense, let's go, and when we're done, we will go find Hong Kong for dinner. Let's go. The two went to the Hokage building side by side. In the office with the beginning of the war, the commissions decreased, and Hokage's work shifted to the war, which was a bit more leisurely than before. He sits on the seat, and on the other side of the sofa sits a middle-aged man with a bandage around his right eye and an X scar on his chin. Advertisement compared with Sarutobi Hisen's upright temperament, this man was colder, with only one eye squinted, always feeling that this guy was thinking about a bad idea. Excuse me. The door was pushed open, and Kyosuke and Asma walked in. Sarutobi Hisen saw their arrival and said with a smile, Kaisuke is here, don't be too cautious. I am here to find you to make certain things. The scar man on one side said, the information that Dashawan passed back to the village said that you encountered the red sand scorpion and retreated all over. Not only that, you have also confirmed that the 3 generations of Fengying were killed by the red sand scorpion? Sarutobi Hitoshi introduced to Kyosuke with a smile and said, this is Konoha's Naruto consultant, Shimura Danzo, this time I came here for this. Yes, it was the scorpion who killed the 3rd generation of Fengying and made the 3rd generation of Fengying into a human puppet, which can use magnetic escape and sand iron, which he himself admitted. Shinzuki glanced at Danzing and said, this guy coveted the position of Hokage, he was not a good thing, he was still a naive person. Of course, the 3rd generation of Hokage is not clean. The two old foxes pondered for a while and did not ask Shinzuki how he escaped. As the village leaders, they knew that Shinzuki was a disciple of Dashimaru and had a special physique. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi, Danzo said. Then it can be determined that the culprit of the Ninja World War is the scorpion of Cheyenne Village. This news can allow us to achieve many goals. It's just that there is no evidence. After all, only Kiyomizu saw it. It was a one-sided word. Sarutobi shook his head. Spreading rumors is about evidence. That's not what we should consider. If there is evidence, it is still called rumors. Danzo feels that Sarutobi is indecisive, and he is not suitable for becoming Hokage, so I might as well let me. Holding back his inner desires, he said, that's not what we should think about. Taking this news out for a walk. Chiyo's position is precarious, and it will be of great help to the battle on the front line. The grandson of the frontline commander assassinated the leader of the village. Whether it was true or not, Chiyo would be suspected. Even her brother Ilao Zhang would be affected. These two backbones were affected. Under the attack of Oshimaru, the victory was sooner or later. Indeed, in this case, this task is left to your roots. Hearing this, Danzo nodded, turned and left. Shinji's mouth twitched. This is all the dirty work for Danzo. Even if it is exposed later, it is Danzo and his business, and his Hokage nothing, this old fox. Sarutobi Hisen smiled and said, you provided information in a timely manner, Kyosuke Asakawa. Advertisement, in view of your contribution to the village, hereby make an exception to promote you as a special Shangren. I hope to continue working hard and become Shangren as soon as possible. Special upper ninja refers to those who have not reached the upper ninja in strength, but have special abilities in a certain aspect, will be promoted to special upper ninja. Sarutobi Hizen promoted Kyosuke as a special shinin mainly because the information provided this time was very good, coupled with his military exploits. In fact, with Kyosuke's military exploits, assassinations, assaults, spying on intelligence, etc., these are enough for him to become a superior. But if you want to become a shinobu, you must reach that level in all aspects. Whether it is fighting ability or knowledge, Shinsuke's combat ability is comparable to some ordinary upper endurance, but the knowledge is not enough. Thank you Hokage-sama, I will definitely shed my blood for the village, dedicated to the village. Haha, don't be so exaggerated, let's go down first. Asuma and Kyosuke enjoy the vacation. Asuma looked at it enviously. Kyosuke became a special ninja so soon, he knew that with Shinsuke's strength, he would be promoted to ninja, and special ninja was just a transition. The war hadn't ended yet, and it might not be long before we'll become the shinobu. Isn't the gap getting bigger and bigger? He was a little unwilling, but he was helpless. After all, this guy Shinsuke was even more terrifying than Kakashi in some respects. Who will be promoted to Shangnin first, he or Kakashi? I'm leaving, don't be dazed. Shinsuke patted Asuma on the shoulder and said, let's go find Hong to eat. I'm hungry. I haven't eaten yet. Oh, let's go. Hong doesn't know if he has eaten it yet. It really doesn't work. Go to her house and have a meal. I heard her mother cooks deliciously. The two hooked their shoulders and walked out. Sarutobi Risen looked at it with a smile, feeling youthful. He was like that back then, but it was a pity that he succeeded in the position of Hokage at a young age. Looking at the setting sun gradually falling, it was his lost youth. Chapter 61. War holidays always come and go quickly. After a week of rest in the village, he set foot on the battlefield again. Tuan Zhang, a yin person, deserves to have eaten this bowl of rice, and has a first-rate skill in splashing dirty water. The grandson of Commander Chiyo assassinated the 3 generations of Hokage, and the news of Chiyo's intention to encroach on Hokage's position spread throughout Sanin's camp during this time. Not only that, but even the sandy hidden village thousands of miles away. Although Cheyenne commander position is still hers, her influence has been greatly reduced. Many people have distrusted her. The layout of the war was deviated under the control of some caring people in Cheyenne village, which led to the defeat of the battle. As the Konoha frontline commander, Oshimaru would naturally not let this great opportunity go easily. Full offense. Konoha and San Shinobu Chen Bing are at Kikyo Mountain, and a big battle is about to start. When Shinjia and the others returned to the base camp, the atmosphere inside was very depressing, and there was a feeling of wind and rain coming to the mountains. They also knew that a big battle was about to begin. The combined forces of the two sides at Kikyo Mountain have been tens of thousands. Obviously, this is a decisive battle. Chiyo's position as the commander has been shaken because of Danzang's good deeds, and his younger brother Ilaozang has also been affected. The two brothers and sisters knew that the village probably wouldn't let them be commanders for too long. After all, their sisters also attacked Konoha. The selfishness of the younger brothers is in it. The old man who has experienced 2 wars has already seen that Sun Shinobu is showing signs of decline, and it will not be long before he will fail. He decides to make a desperate fight and fight to the death in Kikyo Mountain and Konoha if he loses. Cheyenne village will withdraw from the Third Ninja World War, and can only defend itself. Offense or something is already impossible. Early next morning, Konoha's base camp began to take action, and Kyosuke and the others were also waiting in line, and Yuhitomi, who came back from the mission, stood in Konoha's formation. Opposite it is a large number of Sun Shinobu, led by Chiyo and Ezang. In Konoha's case, Oshimaru is the leader. Chiyo, who was still a flower in the ninja world, is now old. He looked at Oshimaru and said, Oshimaru, you little devil did a great job. The little girl Tsunade heard that she has quit Konoha. Otherwise, this war that's interesting. In the Second Ninja World War, Chiyo's poison caused Konoha to suffer. The poisonous nemesis Tsunade-ji turned out to detoxify the old woman and greatly reduce Konoha's loss. This time there was no Tsunade in the Ninja World War. Konoha's number of ninjas who died due to poisoning increased significantly. Even if Oshimaru and a group of medical ninjas deployed anti-venom serum, it was still too late and many people died. Advertisement: without Tsunade, Sunan is still not Konoha's opponent. Instead, it is you. Is Sunan no one? You are still out to fight at such a young age. Sarutobi-sensei is ready to hold your grandson. Who can't talk about it? Don't look at Dashimaru who talks a lot, but he can still make ridicules. If you are here, rubbish talk will come out. I'm afraid it will directly mention the age of Chiyo and jump in the minefields. D. Chiyo snorted coldly. These days, she was overwhelmed by the assassination of 3 generations of Feng Ying by her grandson. She couldn't think of her lovely grandson, whose strength had grown to this level. Yes, she believes that the scorpion can kill the 3 generations of Feng Ying, because the child's talent is really terrible. Although I don't know how it was successful, the 3 generations of Feng Ying also disappeared in the days when the scorpion disappeared. It proves from the side that Sun Tzu killed 3 generations of Feng Ying. There was a voice in the village that she shouldn't be a commander, and she was suppressed by a few old friends, but it couldn't last long. After this battle, no matter if she wins or loses, she will return to Cheyenne village to live in seclusion. It was so disappointing not to see my grandson, she said. Oshimaru, that timid and cunning old fox from the 3rd generation of Naruto sent you such a poisonous snake. You really have a good calculation. After this war, you may be nominated as the 4th generation of Naruto. Guys should retire too, right? Sarutobi is in his prime of life, and you haven't retired. how can he retreat? At this moment, behind Konoha, a red signal flare rose. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Oshimaru's face suddenly sank. Chiyo showed a smile, waved his hand, and said, offensive. As soon as the voice fell, golden sand suddenly rose from the originally solid ground, like a golden torrent, rushing towards Konoha. This is dust gold. When Dashuan saw this, he unearthed the Dunlu city wall without saying a word. A high wall was raised to stop the placer gold. Then immediately summoned a purple snake. It is his psychic beast, 10,000 snakes. Wan Shi had a particularly bad temper and said, hey, Dashiwan, do you call me to a dangerous battlefield again? Are you nonsense? If it's not a dangerous battlefield, what do I want you to do? Many snakes, except Konoha's ninja, you can eat the rest you want, Oshimaru said with a sneer. This is what you said, it's been a long time since I had a full meal. Advertisement. There was a bloodthirsty light in Wan Shi's eyes, his body twisted, around the Tuliu city wall, and appeared in front of Sand Ninja, opened his mouth, swallowing a dozen or so bewildered Sand Ninja in one mouthful. Upon seeing this, a young ninja with short brown hair immediately manipulated the dust and turned into a big hand, trying to catch the snake, but was avoided by the soul. The magnetic escape of Cheyenne village is different from the sand iron of the 3 generations of Fengying. Looking at the next 4 generations of Fengying Luosha, who will control the placer gold, Dashimaru made a decisive decision, jumped out of Wansha's head and killed him. Although Chiyo is dangerous, compared with Luosha, who owns placer gold, Luosha will be more threatening to Konoha in the future, and it may even become the next generation in the future. As Oshimaru rushed into the battlefield, Konoha left Lu Ju and others to coordinate the battle. Lu Ju immediately allocated a part of his troops to deal with the puppet troops led by Ilao Zhang, as for the others to stay on the front battlefield. Kill. Slay Shinobu's B************** D, for Konoha. Konoha's ninjas rushed out one after another, and Kyosuke was among them. Jet flames, flame vortex, big characters exploded. Musket. All kinds of attacks fell, and every time someone was killed by him. Zhao Dun oversteam kill. A familiar scream came, and a scream came from behind him. Turning his head to see, a Konoha ninja was instantly evaporated by the water in his body, surrounded by 2 fireballs, and turned into a corpse. It's already obvious who did it. Looking back at Yi Kang, he smiled and said, you can't wait to date me? No, I'm here to kill you. Chapter 62. Fight Ye Kang again. Facing Yi Kang, Kyosuke smiled relaxedly and said, you should know that you can't beat me, you come here to die. Yi Kang's Zhou Dun is of no use to him, he is here to deliver food. It's just that she didn't know it, and said, that's just an exam, you can't kill, but now it's on the battlefield. The ability to kill and the inability to kill are completely at 2 levels. Although ninjutsu was not intended to kill at the beginning, with the development of the times, the development of ninjutsu began to pursue power. How to kill the opponents most quickly exists exclusively for the battlefield. And Yi Kang's Zhou Dun is even more so, evaporating the moisture in the enemy's body most quickly, causing it to dehydrate and die, and eat fresh all over the sky with one move. This kind of blood inheritance limit that exists specifically to kill the enemy is naturally not threatening in the test room where you can't kill, but on the battlefield, it is an unfavorable killer weapon. It's just that this girl doesn't know Chingsuke's ability and how miserable she will be. Success. Asakawa Kyosuke, with a low drink, the searing fireball flew up, seeming to want to evaporate all the water in Shinji's body, and want to make him into a corpse. Kyosuke immediately rushed out of the fireball and ran to Yi Kang. Facing Shinji, who rushed over like a beast, Yi Kang reacted more quickly, jumping back, and investing in nothing. She was surprised when she saw that Shinzuki didn't even hide. She didn't think that the one who could defeat her would be a fool. In the next second, she was stunned, because she saw Kiyomizu. No matter how Kunwu penetrated her body was pierced through several holes, and the flame filled the hole, but his footsteps did not stop, and his speed was rushed unabated. Come. His hands were not sharp, and he slashed at Yi Kang's throat. Ding. Kunai flew in the air and flew the kunai in Kyosuke's hand. Turning his head to see, it was a sand ninja who used this kunai to resolve Ye Kang's crisis while fighting against the Konoha ninja. Yi Kang, cheer up. After a reminder, he fought with Konoha ninja again. Yes. Cheering up, he asked in a deep voice. What's the matter with your body? Man's little secret, if you are not dead, come and ask me again in 10 years. He smiled, pointed at Yi Kang, and shot a lot of sparks on his fingers. Musket. Mars fell like a torrential rain, and it didn't give Yi Kang a chance to seal, making her very embarrassed. Behind it, there is no blood spilled on the head of a shinobu Naruto, and Kuwu has crossed Shinji's head, but it is very shocking. Advertisement turning around, punched Sha Shinobu, Fire Fist. The Fire Fist broke out at close range, and the flames burst out, burning him alive. Ah! An extremely screaming scream came from his mouth, and Kyosuke whispered, sorry, this is the battlefield. Withdrawing his hand, at this moment, the 2 puppets' blades interlaced and cut his body into 4 sections. The body fell, only 2 legs were left standing, the wound was blazing, and the body that fell on the ground turned into flames and reorganized. This terrifying scene was seen by a large number of people. It was extremely frightened in a group of sand ninjas. I was shocked when I saw it. Even Chiyo, who was controlling the puppet, was surprised when he saw it. He didn't expect Konoha to have more families with secret skills, but she could see the weakness of Kyosuke at a glance. Said, don't be stunned, that kid's body is similar to that of the Ghost Lamp clan. The body of the Ghost Lamp clan is not immune to Lei Dun. His body is aflame. Naturally, he is afraid of Shui Dun squad, and fully attacked the news. Yes. The 3 sand ninjas who know how to escape from water came out, and at the same time they sealed, water escape water turbulence. Water escape water tooth bomb. The last hand has the most seals and is also the most complicated. Others can complete 4 or 5 spells, he has only 1. The last seal falls and he shouts, water escape water dragon bullet art. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. As expected of the old guy who survived on the battlefield, I can see the weakness of my body at a glance. A little embarrassed to avoid the attack of Shui Dun, Kyosuke stood on the water created by those people. Chiyo, an experienced guy who survived the 2 ninja wars, naturally has her abilities and is not so easy to deal with. Seeing him avoiding, a few Shui Dun sand ninjas said to Yi Kang. Yi Kang-chan, leave it to us here, you go and deal with Konoha's other ninjas. But just after the words were finished, the 3 of them were stiff, unable to move, and their faces appeared in horror. An iron rod stretched out, flew a sand nin, swung left and right, and knocked both of them flying, all hitting the head, and the dead could not die again. Shinosuke put away the diamond wishful stick, and Yuri Zhenhong put away the illusion technique beside him. The 2 continued to cooperate on the battlefield. Chingzuki naturally saw them and thanked them in his heart. Looking at Yi Kang, he said, you have no chance of winning in front of me. Yi Kang, although it is a pity, you are going to die here today. A flame was burning in his hand, and the high temperature caused the space to be distorted. He took out a kunai, and the flame in his hand turned into a long knife, and the flames raged on it. Yi Kang gritted his teeth, and behind him, a sand-hidden Murakami yelled. Yi Kang retreats, he is not something you can deal with, Shui Dun Shui Chongbo. When the flood came again, Chingzuki jumped up, stepped on the water, and rushed towards Yi Kang. Advertisement, I am Shinobu Yekang of San Shinobu, and I will never fear any enemies. Even if he knew that his chances of winning were not much, Yi Kang would never back down. Kumi pulled out, and collided with the flame sword, the flame was hot. The 2 went hand to hand with each other, with constant killer moves. There is a flaw, Qingjia slapped the kunai in Yi Kang's hand, opened the empty door, and slashed it abruptly. In the next second, Yi Kang's body, which was severely severed, turned into yellow sand and fell. Sand doppelganger. Just when he was shocked, a figure appeared on the water under his feet, bursting out of the water, carrying a lot of spray, and drenching Kiyomizu. His body suddenly materialized, and Kuwu Thorn came over. Can't avoid it. Chingzuki knew that with a ruthless heart, although the flame went out, the hot kunai also pierced out. A handful of blood spilled. He and Yi Kang backed away one after another. He covered his shoulders, and the blood dripped into the pool under his feet. The pool was stained red. Yi Kang covered his right arm. Not only was he stabbed there, but the flesh and blood around the wound was scalded, exuding an unspeakable smell. Even if the wound here is healed, it will leave scars. Both of them missed. It's now, 2 San Shinobu attacked Kyosuke. Fire escaped the art of fire, wind escaped big breakthrough. The flame stopped the 2 of them, and Hong and Asma rushed over and asked, are you okay, Kyosuke? I can't die yet. San Shinobu also rushed over to Yekang, and it seemed that the 2 of them couldn't tell the difference between life and death today. Chapter 63. Art is an explosion, transfer, attack other people, Yi Kang can't kill today. Kyosuke frowned and glanced at it. Konoha and Sandarin fought. He couldn't do anything like this, because it would affect his own people. Asma nodded and retreated with Kyosuke and Hong. Yi Kang glanced at them unwillingly and wanted to chase them, but he knew that Chingzuki, like himself, could launch an attack without Kaien. Even if he was injured now, it would not be easy to deal with. I will definitely find a chance to kill you in the future. Under the cover of his companion, he simply treated the wound and immediately rushed to other battlefields. Psychic art. A big snake smaller than the black snake appeared and stood on top of the big snake. Kyosuke said, strike with all your strength and contain Chiyo. Don't ask the old woman to give orders. This time I deflated mainly because Chiyo saw through his own details. This experienced veteran must be restrained from the beginning, otherwise it would bring great losses to Konoha. Hong said, but Konoha's current shinin has been restrained, even Ashimaru-sama and Captain Shinosuke. Dad is also fighting now. Then I will go. Chingzuki gritted his teeth and said, now that I am attacked, Ilao Zhang is behind. As long as I don't get any water, my body will be enough to hold back 1,000 generations before chakra runs out. In this situation, Konoha has the upper hand for the time being, but with the enemy back and forth, the team sent out to deal with Ilao Zhang. If it loses, then it may be that waiting for Konoha to lose. This battle is very important. Dashimaru was temporarily held back by Luosha's gold dust, and a number of people from the sandy hidden village were on the side. They would not be able to get out for a while. It's still up to Luju and the staff to line up. It's a little strenuous. But I have to go. Chingzuki gasped and said, Asma, take care of Hong. Go ahead, don't die. Hearing this, Kyosuke smiled and cursed. Will you hope that I will be better? I won't die so easily, don't underestimate me. Be careful. After speaking, Asmar pulled Hong away from Orochi's back. Hong asked, why should Shinjia go? That's dangerous. Asma said in a deep voice, but now Konoha has a lot of combat power being held back by Sandin. Not wanting to open the situation will only hurt both sides. Believe Kyosuke, he will definitely not hang up so easily. Advertisement seeing that figure from the back, he said, he will never die. Little ghosts of Konoha. Take it to death. The old 1,000 generations are strong, controlling the puppets to kill the 4 sides on the battlefield, and command the battlefield with ease. As the puppet master, controlling 4 puppets is far from her limit, but 4 puppets are enough on this battlefield. Common Konoha couldn't bear to get close, let alone attack her. Seeing a big snake rushing blatantly, Chiyo smiled. Is that little devil's disciple of Dashimaru? Are you really bold, rushing directly towards the old man? Old lady, take it to death. Kyosuke roared, and Chiyo's face sank, obviously not very big. His mouth is so stinky. Konoha's education is not very good. It seems that I want to discipline you on your behalf. A puppet flew over, the mechanism in the abdomen opened, and a large amount of black liquid was ejected. Kyosuke, who thought it was water, immediately jumped away and showered on the top of the snake's head. At this time, the puppet stretched out a tube in one hand, and a hot flame burst out, igniting the black liquid. Oil? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. He suddenly understood that it was not water, but oil. After the oil was ignited, the snake was scalded and rolled back and forth on the ground, crushing a lot of drunkies, not only the Konoha but also the sands inside. Neither of them cares. Chiyo's fingers flicked in succession, 2 puppets flew out, and 2 fingers ejected out, connected with steel wires, wrapped around him, and bound him. This is, Kyosuke, who was about to break free with his body falling, suddenly felt bad when he saw Chiyo's hand seal. Lay done go. Thunder followed the wire into him, Suddenly the pain was numb. Damn, can't you be completely immune to thunder dunch? Advertisement: the elementalization of thunder and lightning, which has no physical energy, will be affected, and the body will receive some damage, but it will not be fatal. But the feeling of numbness all over the body is really uncomfortable. Little ghost of Konoha, this is the difference in combat experience. Your body is very special, similar to the body of the Ghost Lamp clan. The body of their clan is not immune to Thunderdune, and you cannot immune to Waterdune, but there is no pure energy attack of the physical form. It can still hurt your body. Chiyo came over, and the 4 puppet guards were by her side, facing Kyosuke, who was lying on the ground, and said softly. Really? Teacher Oshimaru also said, I forgot, damn, this is the end of the class not paying attention to the lecture. But, mother-in-law, you are a qualified commander, but you are not a qualified elder. The scorpion of the red sand, part of the reason for being that way is because of you. Hearing the name of her precious grandson, Chiyo's face stiffened. She was very guilty of Scorpion and hated Konoha White Fang, who killed her son and daughter-in-law, but she couldn't refute Kiyomizu's words. It was his negligence on Scorpion and the failed education of Cheyenne Village that led him to go astray. 3 generations of Fengying had been close friends with his son and felt guilty for the death of his son and daughter-in-law. Because of this, he took good care of the Scorpion and believed in the Scorpion, otherwise, he would not be attacked and killed by the Scorpion. The 3 generations of Fengying with Sand Iron are the nemesis of the puppets. Most of the Scorpion's abilities are in the puppets. If it weren't for the 3 generations of Fengying to believe in Scorpions too much, I'm afraid they wouldn't die. Thinking like this, Chiyo faced a boy who was younger than his grandson and said, according to what you mean, have you seen a Scorpion? How do you think those rumors about your Cheyenne Village spread? I saw with my own eyes he was attacked by 3 generations of Fengying puppets. The human puppet was created by a Scorpion and transformed the human body into a puppet to retain the ability of the deceased during his lifetime. She and I knew that, so when the rumors in Cheyenne Village spread, she knew it was true. It looks like you know the whereabouts of my lovely grandson. Lucky for you, I won't kill you, but I won't let you go. If you can catch me, the failed elders. The flames suddenly burned, and a large number of them gathered on his body. Chiyo saw that he was about to stop, and he sensed that the terrifying chakra was compressed into a ball in Kiyosuke's body. You crazy boy. Before he could retreat, he immediately used the puppet to protect himself. Art is explosion. Otter bomb. Boom. A mushroom cloud slowly rises on the battlefield. Chapter 64. Against Chiyo, this movement is so huge that most of the eyes on the battlefield are concentrated here. Elder 1,000 generations, she must be fine with Chiyo consultant. It is too dangerous for Konoha to have such a powerful destructive method. Usana used the wind to blow away the smoke and dust, revealing a blue chakra barrier. Among them, Chiyo was intact, but her puppet was full of cracks and was about to be unable to support it. Click. Click. The puppet's body collapsed, and Chiyo breathed a sigh of relief, and said, I didn't expect this kid to have such a killer move. I underestimated him. Yeah, you underestimated me. In the flames, Kyosuke stepped out and said, Mother-in-law, I can use this attack more than a dozen times. Would you like to give it a try? Chiyo snorted, smelly boy, what are you proud of? Can you use that kind of technique more than a dozen times? At your age, as long as you are not the ninjas such as Uzumaki and Senshu, otherwise, it is impossible to use this with your chakra amount. Repeated attacks. Kyosuke made a cut, and it was difficult to deal with in front of the old rivers and lakes, and smiled. As expected, she is a 1,000-generation mother-in-law, who has experienced 2 battles in the ninja world. At such an old age, it is time to return to the village to provide for the elderly. Huh. My bones are still strong, and your 3 generations of Hokage are also occupying the position of Hokage. He didn't retreat. How can I retreat, and the opponent is still Konoha, so I can't retreat. You little fellow is not polite at all. Oh, how can I say that? In the village, I am famous for respecting the old and loving the young and treating others politely. 3 generations of Hokage have praised me. Apart from occasionally bullying his son, I look like a good person. Kyosuke slapped his palms, burning flames on his body, and said, Come on, grandmother 1,000 generations. The brazen little devil. Several figures came to Chiyo and said, Master Chiyo, let us deal with this kid. My goal is not for you crooked melons. He is still exporting, oh, as the crane tail in the 5 great ninja villages. If it weren't because of poverty, it would have disappeared long ago. I really can't think of why Yanyan village would attack Cheyenne village. It is a business that only loses money. It is because of the death of a 3rd generation. Feng Ying. That's really sad. Our 3rd generation of Hokage is gone. Do you dare to do it in Yanyan village? Owning the 2 shadow level powerhouses, Dashawan and Zilaya. Even Yanyan village will throw rats when attacking Konoha. Of course, the group of gay guys in Yanyan village will most likely be reckless. Those people gritted their teeth at hearing, and Shinji's words directly pierced the pain in their hearts. The death of the 3 generations of Feng Ying was the fuse of this war, and it is an indisputable fact that Yanyan village attacked them. Advertisement had it not been for the village and the country of the earth to negotiate, let them contain the country of thunder, and attack the country of fire, it might be a defense war now. Boy, I'm going to tear your mouth. He's anxious, oh, don't you dare to recognize it? Escape from reality? Killed crazy, Shinji Mab artillery has been mad. San Shinobu couldn't help it anymore, roared, took off the huge shuriken behind his back, and threw it out forcefully. Shuriken cut off Kiyosuke's body and was also caught by him. He smiled and said, let me use such a good ninja. With that, he threw the sword in his hand again. At the same time, Jian on his hand said, the art of shuriken shadow clone. This trick was learned from Asma, and a lot of shurikens appeared in the air. San Shinobu, who threw out the shuriken, was frightened and at a loss. She didn't know what to do. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi, Feng Dun Shen Biao. An experienced San Shinobu immediately blew the shuriken in front of him with the wind, and said in a deep voice, this kid is not like Konoha's other middle shinobi, so I can't underestimate him. Just that hand was not something that ordinary Zongren could achieve. Would you like to fight for justice? Kiyosuke smiled softly, I have a companion too. Psychic. A huge black snake appeared on the battlefield, and the indifferent snake pupil looked down at the people in front of him and said, Kaisuke, I haven't asked you to settle the account that made me escape last time. Haha. Jumping onto the black snake's head, Kiyosuke pointed to Chiyo and said, did you see it? That was the grandmother of that person last time. She is also very strong. You can eat her. Of course, before that, you need to deal with something. Fly. It's them. I glanced at those Shangren, saw the 10,000 snakes who were fighting, and said, that fellow Wan snake is here too. Of course, he is a psychic beast of teacher Oshimaru. Stop talking nonsense, let's go. Advertisement. The black snake's body began to move, at an amazing speed, easily bypassing the attack, and the huge tail drew towards Chiyo. Although he was old and not at his peak, Chiyo was still physically agile, avoiding attacks, and relying on the help of splashing stones, jumped on the back of the black snake, and quickly approached Kiyosuke. Little devil Konoha, call out your fate. Chiyo quickly approached, and his exquisite physical skills showed up, making it very difficult for Kiyosuke to take the attack. Is this the horror of the older generation? It's more powerful than I thought. To hold up Chiyo's attack, the flames on Kiyosuke's body surged and turned into a barrier, forcing Chiyo back, and said, Black Snake, those wearing khaki clothes are all sand ninja, whatever you want. Huh. Got it. Kiyosuke jumped out of the black snake's head. Chiyo also jumped away, flicking his fingers again and again, and the chakra line connected the large number of kunai and shurikens scattered on the ground, all used to attack Kiyosuke. Mother-in-law, don't bother, I am immune to physical attacks. Of course I know. The 1000-generation mother-in-law moved her fingers together, and a large amount of shuriken kunai fell by his side. Seeing the arrangement of weapons around, Shinsuke's heart sank, and his body turned into a flame, galloping toward Chiyo. Laid down false darkness. The lightning burst instantly, blasting on Shinsuke's body, and connected with those Kawuwu, forming a dense lightning network, entangled his flame body. Reconsolidating his human form, he said, as expected of a 1000-generation mother-in-law, I found a way to contain me so soon. Although the body is still elemental, it can't become the flame shape just now. This is really bad news. If you live a long time, you will naturally learn more. Oh, you admit that you are old, Chiyo, Yan? Even if this stinky kid survives, he won't find a girlfriend when he grows up. Little devil with sharp teeth, die. Lei Dun disappeared. Chiyo rushed over, taking advantage of Kiyosuke's paralyzed body, to kill him with a single blow. Chapter 65. 10 people near Song. I won't die so easily. A large number of snakes were psyched out by him, densely numbered and countless, making the scalp numb when seen. A snake came behind him, swallowed him in his abdomen with his mouth open, and burrowed into the ground. Did you run away? Take out a puppet and use the puppet to break the bodies of the snakes? Chiyo no longer cared about him, but rushed into the battlefield. At this moment, the serpent that had just swallowed Kiyosuke broke out of the ground, spouting a cloud of flames. Chiyo blocked the flames and sneered. This kind of trick wants to attack me? It looks down on people a little. The flame formed a human form in the air, floating in the air, Shinji said. No, of course not, don't underestimate me. Karma fire red lotus formation. As soon as the voice fell, a pillar of fire rushed out of the ground, more than one. This was just the beginning. One after another rushed up, surrounding Chiyo in the center, blocking the possibility of her retreat, and the ground under her feet was getting hotter. Underground, Kiyosuke's clone increased firepower output, and the firepower combination between them, concentrated at the feet of Chiyo, was about to explode. There is such a method. I underestimated you, but there is a natural way for the older generation to survive. 10 puppets appeared, and Chio's 10 fingers were connected with chakra silk threads. 10 people near song. The masterpiece of the early puppet master Menzaemon is a very powerful puppet technique, able to control 10 powerful puppets for their own drive. The mother-in-law of 1,000 generations once used this technique to conquer the secret technique of a city on her own. Boom! The ground under his feet erupted, and intense and hot flames rose into the sky like a volcanic eruption, which was extremely conspicuous on the battlefield. Failed. Shinzuki snorted. The chakra in his body consumed a lot, but he could still fight. Since joining the war, his chakra has grown faster, a lot more than before, so there is no need to worry about himself. A sphere rushed out of the flames. After dispersing, it was a crowd of nearly 10 people whose clothes were burned, and Chio who was slightly embarrassed by protecting himself with puppets. Chio looked at Kyosuke with a bad look. Whether you win or lose in this war, you kid will never survive. With this kid's power, he definitely can't survive, otherwise, it may be another Konoha White Tooth. He has such an offensive power at a young age, so that he grows up, is it worth it? Advertisement: if there is another enemy similar to Konoha and White Fang, Cheyenne Village will never look up, so for her, it is necessary to kill the little guy Kyosuke here at all costs, otherwise it will be difficult for San Shinobu to come out. Just use this white cheat. 10 people from Jinsong to end your life. So, this is Menzaemon's masterpiece. It is indeed a good figure. If you don't be a ninja, you can definitely make a lot of money by doing figures. Kyosuke's divergent thinking made Chiandai unable to keep up with the rhythm. It looks like you have studied us, but you must die here today. Not always. Kyosuke shook his head. Shadow clone technique. There were 3 more shadowy clones around him, all of them burning flames, and they attacked Chio. The 3 treasures are sucked. Controlling the 3 puppets to form a plural character, and at the same time the hands were sealed, the organs on their mouths opened, and the 3 characters, Buddha, Dharma, and Monk, popped up on the organs, and a strong tornado occurred. The shadow clone plus Kyosuke's body was involuntarily in the formation. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Screaming, Kyosuke would not give up lightly. Just when the clone was caught by the eye of the tornado, the 3 avatars exploded at the same time, and the flames and energy produced by the explosion dissipated the formation at once. Mirror flames. A sea of fire appeared, and the 2 puppets opened their hands to form a blue barrier to block the incoming fire. 1,000 generations of 10 fingers bend, and afterimages danced out, and 3 puppets bypassed the sea of fire and attacked. One of the puppets spit out a lot of water. Unexpectedly, Kiyomizu was showered, his body suddenly unable to be elementalized, and the other puppet ejected with one arm, exploded in the air, and countless poisonous 1,000 books flew out. A big snake appeared and took over all the poisonous 1,000 books for him. Just as he was about to evaporate the water droplets on his body, the big snake's body was suddenly divided into 2, and a puppet was killed with a knife, and he did not evaporate water at all. Opportunity. Ding 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 ding. When Kurumi collided with the long sword, Kyosuke stepped back while thinking about countermeasures. At this time, an instant flew over and bound him. The long knife smashed down. Bad, to die, ding. Advertisement: an iron rod appeared, stopped the long knife for him, and defeated the opponent's Shinosuke to come to support. Shinji said with an injury, is it okay, Kyosuke? It's okay. A flame burned on his body, evaporating water. Reminded, Captain Shinosuke, be careful. These 10 puppets are 10 people from Cheyenne Village near Song, and they cooperate with each other tacitly. I just followed their way. These 10 puppets have their own characteristics. They have various attacks such as long range, melee, range, single body, physics, attributes, and seals. They can attack, retreat and defend. They cooperate with each other. It can be said that they are seamless. I know that San Shinobu's 1,000-generation mother-in-law's name is like a thunderbolt, but bullying a junior is really a loss of status. Shinosuke clenched the King Kong wishful stick in his hand and said, this stick, boy, you belong to the Sarutobi clan? Who are you from Sarutobi Hizumi? Chio recognized the weapon in the new assistant and asked, it's my father. That's interesting. Konoha Beto caused me to lose my son and daughter-in-law. That guy actually committed suicide, so I can't get revenge. If that's the case, I'll use Sarutobi's son's head instead. My head is here, as long as you can get it. Shinosuke snorted and said, Kyosuke, the same way. To understanding, as a companion of the same assassination team, after working together for a period of time, there is a tacit understanding between each other. The 2 separated instantly, and Kyosuke took the lead in the charge. After Shinosuke separated a shadow clone, the main body rushed up directly. The long stick in his hand protrudes and stretches, penetrates Shinsuke's body, and hits the puppet holding the scythe. The 2 puppets were killed from different directions, and Shinosuke's shadow clone Yuyan said, soil escape multiple earth flow walls. In the next second, both the roads of Kyosuke and his body were sealed by earth walls, and Kyosuke rushed out of the earth walls. The King Kong wishful stick swept across, sweeping away 2 puppets. Kyosuke knocked down a puppet with a punch and came to Chio. He took a closer look and found that it was a puppet. The next moment, his whole body climbed up and down with pitch black runes, and a black snake circle appeared under his feet. In the center of the circle is the word, close. Chapter 66. Come to an end temporarily. Kid, you are still too tender. I don't know when. Chio has already swapped identities with a puppet. She uncovered the cloak at the beginning, revealing her true face, and said, "This is the lack of combat experience. It is impossible for the puppet master to bring the opponent close. If you let you get close, you're enticing the enemy to go deeper." Seeing that Kyosuke was taken down, Shinosuke made a decisive act of ninjutsu. Tuden Wangshen Marsh. The land under his feet turned into a swamp that could devour human lives. Kyosuke's feet sank, and he was able to avoid the long knife that slashed his head. Chiyo also jumped away with the puppet in time, losing the puppet who used the seal technique. Fortunately, it is good to be short, and fortunately, if there is a new help, my life will be explained here. The old woman Chiyo was really amazing. She had sullied herself without knowing it, and she didn't even notice Shinosuke. Shinjizuki Nagasake provoked Kyosuke's clothes and took him out of the scope of the sealing technique. Outside that scope, the sealing technique lost its effect, and his body regained his mobility. He let out a long sigh and said, "Thank you, Captain Shinosuke, I am careless. I was almost killed." Be careful, Chiyo is not like the Sand Shinobu we killed before, this one is not easy to deal with. Shinosuke reminded in order to prevent Kyosuke from deflating again. It can be said that the old fritters who have experienced the 2 wars of Ninja World are not easy to deal with, especially those who have been mixed into the high level of the village. Their strength is there, plus the terrible combat experience accumulated from the 2 wars, they want to win one, it's all very difficult. I see, this is a battlefield, and there are too many people. Otherwise, I'll come to a big clearing move and raising this place. Shinzuki said terrible words. Shinosuke. You are getting supernatural powers soon. Hichinjia has performed many tasks, and they are basically burned all the way. Moreover, this guy often gets anxious and makes a big move to clear the field. Don't think about it, dealing with this old witch is the last word. There is no choice to talk nonsense with Shinjia, it is not the time to chat. Chiyo was surrounded by 9 puppets, guarding her. In this state, even if the 3rd generation of Naruto Toshizumi came in person, it would take a while to defeat her, let alone Kyosuke and Shinosuke. Go with. A large number of poisonous needles were ejected from one of the puppets, and Shinosuke hurriedly danced the golden wishful stick in his hand to form a wall, which was airtight and water could not enter. Advertisement. Unlike this guy Kyosuke, he was a flesh and blood body, unable to ignore physical attacks. Tuden Tulong Gun. A large number of thorns suddenly rose, and the puppets acted one after another, breaking the stone thorns, and Chiyo said, "It will take a long time for me to sneak attack. You 2 little ghosts have good abilities, but that's it." That's it. Kyosuke and Shinosuke suddenly breathed a sigh of relief and said, "You have already lost. Do you think I'll be in the trick, Konoha's kid? You, Mr. Ashimaru has won." Kyosuke looked at the battlefield behind Chiyo, and said, Dashimaru stabbed Luosha with a Kusunazu sword in his hand. Feeling the tingling pain on his shoulder, Luosha snorted, "Oshawan, our Sha Rinin will definitely not be defeated." "No, you have already lost. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Oshimaru licked the corner of his mouth and said, "Chiyo was dragged by my disciple and Shinosuke. Ailazu attacked Konoha's back, but he also let himself be restrained, and you were also dragged by me. Konoha's commander and I am not the only one." Luo Sha's face was hard to look at. All of a sudden, a large amount of gold dust rose up, blocking him and Da Shiwan. The gold dust dispersed, Luo Sha disappeared. Dashimaru's snake pupil glanced indifferently at Chiyo's side, and was glanced at by Oshimaru, seemingly feeling. Chiyo looked back and met his gaze. Obviously, Luo Sha failed, still too young. In this battle, San Shinobu failed. Boom 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 boom. The signal flare flew into the sky one after another, symbolizing the evacuation signal appeared in the sky of the battlefield. The Sand Shinobu, who had been unable to support it, began to retreat in an orderly manner. Chiyo sighed, Sand Ninja is still weaker than the strong Konoha, and the foundation is not enough, plus this poor mountain and bad water, how many useful ninjas can there be? Sand Shinobu's foundation no longer allows him to attack. Advertisement. Damn it, if the logistics reserve were doubled, she would be able to keep Konoha in the land of the river, but it was a pity that she still couldn't. He was unwilling, but there was nothing he could do. He glanced at Kiyomizu, and now there was no chance to kill him. In another 10 years, Konoha will have another Konoha Wide Tooth level figure. Originally, Scorpion could lead the village to prosperity, but thinking of this, she was going to scold Konoha Baifong again, giving birth to a B***************** D who had no X-eyed son, Kakashi. Sand Shinobu began to retreat. Chiyo also chose to leave. Osamaru came to Shinosuke and Kyosuke, and said, "Done very well, it dragged the previous generation and prevented her from commanding the battlefield." Very good. After returning, check the situation of the battle. Tell me, Shinosuke arranges people not to chase them, and the poor will not chase them. Yes. Count the casualties. Yes. This battle came quickly and went quickly, but the losses were not small. Everyone was stunned by each other, and under the full attack, they were all injured. Konoha's army withdrew back to the camp. In this battle, 15% of the team was lost. The loss was not bad in Onamaru's eyes. After all, it was a head-on battle. He said, arrange for the manpower to monitor the movement of Sand Shinobu from a distance. Now that you determine the movement of Shinobu, you can determine the next strategy earlier and see if you can kill Shinobu alone. Only if you get hurt, this kind of thing won't happen again. Of course, he also knows that this won't last long, but in this war, it's enough for Sunobu to stop moving. Call the 3 members of the Yuri Zhenheng team over. Soon after, the 3 Chinjia entered the camp. Seeing the 3 people arrive, he said, The village of Wuyan suddenly attacked. The war on the water country is tight. Konoha needs support. Kyosuke, your abilities have been exposed. Go to the country of water. Chingia. But there are so many water escape ninjas over there, and I can't give full play to my best advantage. Then you are no different from ordinary ninjas. Don't rely too much on this ability. Go ahead. I will appoint a reliable temporary team leader to take care of you. We'll suffer. Let's get used to it first. Shui Dun will only make his elementalization unable to play out, and will not kill him, and he doesn't believe that Shinzuki will die there. Chapter 67. Poland Wars. The situation between Konoha and Cheyenne village has stabilized, and as long as Oshimaru sits and arranges, the Kingdom of Wind has nothing to worry about. The offensive of Wuyan village made Konoha passively defensively, and a group of ninjas who had just been promoted to shinobu scattered to resist. This was also the reason why he couldn't divide his troops. Now that the situation here is stabilized, it is natural to divide the troops there to carry out reinforcements. Konoha is now full of enemies. Yanyan village, Cheyenne village, and Wuyan village have already fought against Konoha. The Yanyan village in the land of the earth is watching, and the old man Onoki wants to find an opportunity to bite a piece of meat from Konoha. The battlefield is the country of waves in the center of the country of fire and water. The nation of waves is a country surrounded by the sea. It happens to be separated between the nation of water and the nation of fire. This country has no shinobu village. After the nation of water launched a war, this country hardly resisted, and it was useless to resist. The ninjas of Wuyan village easily took over the country, and Wuyan used this as a springboard to constantly harass and attack the border of the burning country. Konoha is not a vegetarian either. After driving Wuyan out of the country of fire, he confronted Wuyan in the country of waves. Chingia and they are only the first to get the order, and someone will go there later. After the three of them packed their bags, they received enough supplies from the logistics department, and immediately rushed to Poland for reinforcement. Everyone knows Wuyan's thoughts. He wants to take advantage of the opportunity, but Konoha is so powerful that he dare not take any action, and now it is only a small-scale harassment. He dare not carry out large-scale shaman. After all, their village there are few people, especially in recent years. In the blood mist is not for nothing. The number of ninjas who graduated in 1 year is pitiful, but they are all elites. The three of them finally rushed to Konoha after 3 days of work. The one who came to greet them was a handsome young man who was long and straight, but his white eyes attracted attention. It's not a cataract, but Konoha's blood succession boundary, and his eyes are blank. Advertisement: the white eyes are the unique blood succession boundary of the Konoha Hyuga clan, and the riding wheel eyes are called the two big pupils. They have a stronger insight than the riding wheel eyes, and are especially important in the battlefield of Huiyin. The country of waves is surrounded by the sea on all sides and the climate is humid, and there are often foggy weather, coupled with the unique fog hiding technique and silent killing technique. In such a unique battlefield, there is almost no disadvantage. Due to climate issues, the eyesight of ordinary ninjas will be greatly affected, while the white eyes owned by the Hyuga clan are not affected. Here, the detection team is held by the Hyuga clan. I am Hyuga Nisari. I have received the order from Lord Osamaru. From now on, I will be your temporary captain. Nisara spoke plainly, but in my heart I felt that the team was not easy to lead. The son of 3 generations of Naruto, the disciple of Oshimaru, one of the 3 ninjas, and the daughter of Yuhitaka, the ninja cultivator, would be very troublesome if one made a mistake. Kiyomizu glanced at Nisari, Neji's father, and Hyuga, who was bound by a caged bird, was later taken to top his twin brother. Hello, Captain Nikkei. After the 3 of them introduced themselves, Ri almost nodded and said, come with me. Now it is the rainy season in Poland. Fighting is very detrimental to us. Be careful. I will take you to the base camp first. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The Battle of Nami Country is Konoha's Naruto advisor, Mido Menyon and Juan Kaharu. These two, like the 3 generations of Naruto Sarutobi and the root leader Shimura Danzo, are the disciples of the 2nd generation of Naruto Senjima. They have experienced the 1st and 2nd ninja wars and have a wealth of combat experience. 3 generations of Hokage handed over the battlefield here to them, also because of their experience. Otherwise, if you change someone, such a small amount of force may not be able to hold it. The battle with Wuyan is still mainly defensive. 2 elderly people about the same age as Chiyo sat in their seats, discussing what to do next, and Nikkei brought 3 people in to report on the task. Asma and the others are familiar with the naughty son of Sarutobi family. He doesn't care about Hong. Seeing Shinzuki, he looked at him up and down. Menyon Mido said, Oshimaru sent you here. Your ability will be restricted here, so it's better not to come. Even the Uchiha clan who are good at fire escape did not participate in the battle with Wuyan, mainly because the heavy fog here would affect the line of sight of riding wheel eyes, and the fire escape here was very unfriendly to them. The flames of Kyosuke are similar to those of the Uchiha clan, so their strength will be greatly reduced when they come here. Advertisement: Shinzuki said. Teacher Dashawan said that I should exercise, saying that I rely too much on my physical immunity, and death is purely underestimating the enemy. Oshimaru could see that Kyosuke relied too much on his own abilities and did not avoid attacks at all, so he chose to let him come to the battlefield with the water country to hone his consciousness. Turning to bed, Xiaochen said, he can also be cruel, and the stupid son of the Risho family was also sent by him. You should first join the Nissan investigation team, and there will be tasks for you later. Yes. The 4 of them left the team, and the escort took them to their camp. They were squeezed here, and the 4 of them could barely live in. The environment in the Kingdom of Wind is dry to death, here is wet to death, so uncomfortable, Kyosuke said uncomfortably. The environment of Nami country is humid, and the humidity of the air is seriously exceeding the standard during the rainy season, which makes people unbearable. I just came here for a short while, my whole body was wet and I felt soaked in the water. Rumble. Thunder and lightning rolled in the sky, and heavy rain poured down and rattled on the tent. Nisari said, "The environment in Nami country is like this, the air is humid and uncomfortable, there is this for you." He took out a packet of medicine and distributed it to 3 people. The smell smelled a little pungent. He explained, because the climate here is very suitable for the growth of insects, there are many mosquitoes, and there are many poisonous insects among them. These medicines are used for the growth of insects. Deworming. In the country of Nami, because of the special geographical environment and climate, many insects thrive here. In the beginning, it is not uncommon to suffer from various troublesome diseases due to the bites of poisonous insects, causing a lot of trouble to Konoha. Therefore, in order to prevent such things from happening, Konoha's medical ninjas and the oily girls who are good at raising and manipulating insects developed this insect repellent. And because this kind of insect repellent will affect the insects raised by the Yun family, now the Yun family live in a corner of the base camp. Because of their special physique, those poisonous insects won't bite them, and some become theirs arms. Here, like the Hyuga clan, they also became a member of the reconnaissance force. Chapter 68. The silly son of the Naruto family. The rain outside was heavy. The raindrops hit the tent and made a rattling noise. Nissan said, "There is a high probability that people with such a heavy rain and mist will not attack, but our mission will come after the rain stops. You guys have a good rest at this opportunity. When the rain is heavy, the fog hiding technique will be useless, and will not attack. Konoha has just a chance to rest. But after the rain stopped, it was time for trouble. Mist will definitely attack. Konoha has already figured out the timing of the opponent's attack. Because of the rain, it was getting dark quickly. Asma rubbed her stomach and said, "Kayasuka, I'm hungry. Let's bake something to eat." As soon as Nisara wanted to say that it was raining and damp, and the firewood could not be lit, he saw a flame burning in the palm of Kiyasuke's palm. "Ah, this." Hong explained. "This is the special physique of the Kyosuke family. It was only in his generation that he awakened." "That's it." Ri almost nodded, and the meridians around both eyes swelled up, looking terrifying. "This is..." Through wide-eyed observation, Kiyasuke's arms now completely turned into a ball of flame, but other places are flesh and blood. "How do you feel that you have seen this state?" "It feels familiar, and I suddenly remembered, isn't this the way the people of the Ghost Lantern clan I saw on the battlefield before? It's just that Kiyomizu changed from water to flame." Seeing Nikkei watching himself, Kyosuke asked curiously, "Captain Nikkei, what is the composition of my body?" He was very curious about what he was like under his eyes. Nisara said, "It's purely composed of flames. It's similar to the situation of the Ghost Lamp clan, but the nemesis of their clan is laid done. Isn't your weakness water dune? Is it really good to come to the misty battlefield?" Among the ninjas in Wuyan village, a brick went down and killed 5, and at least 4 would be able to escape. "This kid didn't come here to die, right? Master Dashimaru said to train me. Anyway, I won't be as deadly as the Ghost Lamp clan meets Thunderdun anyway. I can still fight, but I need to be cautious." He took the sliced meat that Asma handed over, took out a long knife, put the sliced meat on the knife, put his hand under the knife, and started teppanyaki. "It's really a convenient ability." With a sigh, Shinjia said, "What do you want to bake, Captain Nikkei? I will bake it for you. Then trouble you. The daily slack is also welcome. It has been raining these days and the firewood is wet, so he has not eaten a few mouthfuls of warm rice. He finally had the opportunity to eat a warm mouthful, so he won't let this opportunity pass." Advertisement. The Hyuga clan is extremely strict with family education. Most of the people in this clan do everything in a straightforward manner and are very compliant. Even if the daily errand is eating, it is not like Asma and Kyosuke who are reckless to imagine, chew slowly, and have a simple barbecue. Later, Nikkei was also responsible for cleaning. Red, go out and throw away the trash. "Kayasuka, I want to sleep in the middle," Asma whispered to Kyosuke. Kyosuke. What is your kid thinking? Don't think I don't know, everyone is here, what else can you do? Even if you want to do it, you don't have that ability. And do you think you can escape the eyes of Captain Nikkei? Facing his contemptuous eyes, Asma coughed, strangled his neck, and said, "Is it a brother? If it is a brother, let me sleep in the middle. If you say, 'Brother, come and chop me,' I will lift the knife right away." Remuneration for AD class mission. Hong is so cute and the daughter of teacher Zhenhong, but my beloved relatives and friends. I regard him as my sister. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. What? Got more money, Asma. Okay, compensation for 2D level missions. It turns out that Hong is only worth the money for 2 missions in your mind, Asma. It turns out that Hong is not a high place in your heart. You also said that you like people. How does your like feel so cheap? This, Kyosuke said in his ear, like a demon whispering, "How much do you think it is worth to sleep with Hong for a night? It's all you decide, so close, in case Hong sleeps sleepwalking at night, maybe we'll hold you." Hug. Hug? Asma's eyes widened, and heartbroken took out a small purse, patted it on his hand, and said, "It's all yours. Stay away from me and Hong at night." While the slack was silent, Why Kyosuke's heart was a little dark. The silly son of the Naruto family, Hong, came back with an umbrella, leaned the umbrella aside, and saw that the 3 of them had already started making beds, and joined them. Lie down in his own position, who should have been Shinjia beside him, suddenly changed to Asma with an old face. Advertisement. The Sarutobi clan are precocious and look very mature. By Asma's side is Kyosuke and the daily slack. Because of the limited space, we can only arrange this way. They're all in a small team, and there is nothing to worry about. They wear clothes under the quilt. Chingia, the quilt is wet, so uncomfortable. The quilt is damp and has a strange smell. Don't look at me. If you don't want me to light the quilt, don't disturb my sleep. Forbearance, that's it here. Nisara said. Go to sleep, Asma. I will throw you out if you grind your teeth tonight. Don't talk about me, you snore. The two were noisy. Hong smiled and shook his head, turned his back, and slowly fell asleep. This night, the day's slack passed by Kyosuke's grunt and Asma's teeth grinding. Early the next morning, faint dark circles appeared around the white eyes. Seeing Asma holding Chinzuki very ignorantly, Hong smiled and said, the two of them have a good relationship, but Asma will definitely be killed by Chinzuki when he wakes up. Nikkei. I want to kill both of them now. He looked at Hong admiringly. The little girl must have not slept much when she got along with them at first, right? Now I have adapted to it. Huh? Has it dawned? Kyosuke opened his eyes in a daze, feeling a heavy belly. He squinted and looked at it. It was a leg, a man's leg, breathing in his ear, red standing on the side, and a bad day. Get up, then the answer is obvious. B************** D Asma. I killed you, ah. In the early morning, I jumped over and ate breakfast hastily. The day difference looked at the black-eyed green Asma and Chingia who had nothing to say. Well, today our task is to patrol the surrounding area and avoid being hidden by the fog. If conditions permit, we have to go to Wuyan to inquire about intelligence, do you understand? Yes. As a detective team, their task is to detect, rule out the enemy, and detect intelligence if the opportunity arises. With a blind eye, the enemy can be spotted in the most timely manner. Chapter 69. Finally come the country of Nami, which is next to the sea, often has foggy weather. In addition, it is the rainy season, and the line of sight is too severely affected. The white eyes of the Hyuga clan can play a miraculous effect. The four-person squad formed a formation. The day slack was in front, a pair of white eyes were open, and they looked around, paying attention to whether there were signs of ninja activities nearby. But under the heavy rain last night, even if a ninja passed by, the rain would erase the traces and the smell would be diluted. Otherwise, the Inuzuka clan and their ninjas would have appeared on the battlefield of Nami country. The traces and smell disappeared, and it looked like there was no enemy, but if you think about it this way, something will happen sooner or later. No abnormalities were found along the way, and the four-person team proceeded in a normal way. Suddenly, Nikkei raised his arms, motioned the three of them to stop, and squinted his eyes. Even at a distance, with countless tall trees and a faint fog, he could see the sight of a kilometer away from here, and said in a deep voice. It's a misty ninja team. He said. We are approaching towards us. You lie in ambush, leaving a live mouth to collect information, and the rest will not be kept. Yes. Their mission is not only to detect, but to defeat them as much as possible when encountering enemies, bring them back to the camp, and gather intelligence. The four of them dispersed and lay in ambush. Nissan kept staring at the four misty ninjas who came with white eyes. As the distance got closer, the white eyes could see more things, and the meridian system became clearer. Judging from the chakra volume, 1 is forbearing and 3 are forbearing. It is up to him to defeat Shangnin, and the remaining 3 Jongnin will be handed over to Kyosuke. To be able to live on the battlefield with San Shinobu until now, he must have his own ability. Because of the fog in the forest, Shinzuki and the 3 of them didn't see it very well, and the visibility was very low. It was not until the group of misty ninjas came more than 100 meters away from them that they saw a few vague shadows in the forest. Move quickly on the branches. They are also sufficiently concealed, and they are moving fast while trying not to leave any traces, but it is a pity that they encountered a slack squad with white eyes, but they wanted to sneak in secretly but turned into a sneak attack by others. Gossip empty palm. With a palm of the day, a large number of chakras flew out, and under the inside of the white eyes, they accurately hit the acupuncture points leading Wu Yin Shangren. A mouthful of blood spurted, and he immediately said, Retreat, it is Konoha's ninja. One of them, Zhang Ren, reacted extremely quickly, and opened his mouth to exhale a lot of mist. Nympha mist hidden technique. Originally the visibility was not high. With the activation of the fog hidden technique, the surrounding fog became heavier and the visibility was even lower. It's a pity that this mist is just like nothing. Advertisement. Wind escape big breakthrough. Wind escape big breakthrough. Shinzuki and Asma cooperated to exhale a violent wind from their mouths, and the violent wind swept out, blowing away the mist, without giving a chance at all. Wind escape the art of wind cutting. One shot was a killer move. Shinzuki shot a wind blade out, and a misty Zongren reacted quickly. Water escape waterfront wall. Fog hidden ninjas are good at water escape. Even if they are not at the water's edge, they can still use their strength to stop the wind blade by using the water wall. Asma moved at this time. Shuriken shadow clone technique. A large number of physical shurikens flew out, but the misty ninja was dissolved with water. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Shinzuki cursed, and a fire dragon appeared around his body, circling straight up around him. He leapt high, turned his body in the air for 3.5 weeks, and kicked it. Finally come. He carried the fire dragon and kicked it on the wall of the water formation. The wall could no longer stand it and collapsed. Water escape water flow whip. A misty ninja pulled his hands, and a water whip appeared in his hands. He waved it out and wanted to restrain Kyosuke. Suddenly his body stiffened and his face appeared in horror. Red whispered, illusory, complete. Just right. Kyosuke seized the opportunity, waved his arm, and rushed out a few poisonous snakes from his cuffs, tied the Misty Ninja, bit him on his neck, threw it aside, and rushed to the remaining two. And Nikkei is fighting with Wuyin. As the second son of the patriarch of the Hyuga clan, his talent is by no means weaker than his twin brother. He is strong. With the blessing of his eyes, he can always predict the enemy's first opportunity. Even if the opponent uses ninjutsu, he can also flow from chakra. The line, one step in advance to find out. At the same time, slowly approach the opponent until the opponent enters your attack range. Soft boxing Bagua 64 palms, advertisement. 64 palms are continuous, not only the palms, but also the fingerings. They attack the 64 important acupuncture points on the enemy's body. The chakras seal the opponent's chakras, which will block the opponent's chakras. Flowing, and being attacked by 64 times including chakra, even if he is immortal, he will lose half his life and feel extremely uncomfortable. I was hit by a gossip empty palm by the Japanese errand, and my body was already very uncomfortable, and I used my body to take another gossip 64 palms, the whole body was blocked by chakra, blood was vomited on the spot, and he died tragic. The body collapsed softly. After confirming that chakra disappeared, the Nikkei looked at Kyosuke and Asuma. I saw that the two cooperated to fight the other two and are tired of parrying. Asuma, that trick, oh, Asuma began to seal and smiled. Let you try my new tricks. One Shinjia dragged the two directly, and Asuma completed the seal, his chest bulged, and a puff of black smoke was spit out. Fire escape ashes burn. Black smoke, even more terrifying than secondhand smoke, immediately surrounded the two misty ninjas. Cough cough cough, what is this? Is Konoha's blindfolding tricks? Be careful, maybe Konoha ninja wants to sneak attack. The two naively thought that Asuma was going to make a sneak attack, but when he spit out the last black smoke, his upper and lower teeth touched like a signal, and the black smoke exploded. Ah! The bodies were wounded, and the two misty ninjas had forgotten that they would escape from the water. The hot soot adhered to the surface of their bodies, causing them to be burned extensively throughout their bodies. They soon stopped struggling and lost their vitality. Nisara saw the chakras of the two go out, and knew that the other person could not die again, and said, "Okay, clean up the mess, we should also leave." Oh! The three of them immediately put away the corpse of the misty ninja, and began to clean the battlefield, trying to avoid the exposure of their own information. The Zongren who was captured alive by Kiyomizu was sealed and loaded into the scroll. A group of 4 people want to return to the camp and hand him over to the intelligence department, so that the intelligence department can ask the information from their mouths, hoping to bring useful information to Konoha. Chapter 70. Autumn Way, 7 ninja swords were dispatched from Wuyin's side. They are all masters who are proficient in ninja swords. The battle situation is a bit tight. Mito Menyon said when he looked at the information he had received. The Misty Ninja intelligence brought back by the Nikkei has been interrogated. The ninja group in the Misty Hidden Village, and the 7 ninjas have appeared. These Misty ninjas who are good at using ninjas are not easy to deal with. Zhuanshan Shaochen opened his eyes slightly and said, "Then send the disciple of Oshamaru. His body is immune to physical attacks. As long as he doesn't run into Shui Dun, he is the nemesis of shinobi." Menyon Mito pondered for a while and said, "No, his strength and chakra are still insufficient. It is impossible for him to deal with 7 people alone. He needs some help. The Yun VG of the Yun clan is very strong, and if you ask the wind to help, you can guarantee that the child will retreat all over." Sending Asakawa Kyosuke in the past is also to see the power of this generation of Ninja 7. The 7 ninja swords is an inheritable title in Wuyin village. The 7 people are all Wuyin's elite ninjas. They are equipped with a ninja sword suitable for their own ninjutsu. It is said that the 7 can join forces to capture one overnight. The small country, powerful, brought Konoha a lot of trouble in this battle. Well, call them here. Soon after, Qingjia, Yunvijue of the Yun clan, and Chu Dao, the current patriarch of the Chu Dao clan, took the wind. Menyon, Shaochen. Like the 3 generations of Naruto, Mito Menyon, Zhuan Kaharu, Danzo, and Uchiha Mirror, Chu Daojiao are all disciples of the 2nd generation of Naruto, and they are very familiar with each other, but he declined the 3 generations of Hokage awards. His job as a Naruto consultant did not become a Naruto consultant, but his status was similar to theirs. Seeing Chu Dao take the wind to greet them, Mito Menyon and Zhuan Shaochen nodded, and Mito Menyon said, "Get the wind, there is a task you need to complete." "No problem, let's talk about it." Chu Dao took the wind and laughed while patting his chest. "I didn't expect that there will be a task that requires this old bone of me to be dispatched. Let's talk about it. The Chu Dao clan is wide-hearted and fat, so long as they don't mention their weight, they are all very talkative. I hope you take Joei and Shinzuki this child to deal with the 7 ninthos. Good guy, this is asking me to die, advertisement." Kiyomizu glanced at the plain-faced Mito Monitis and turned to Kaharu. "The impression that was not so good at first took a turn for the worse, and there will be a chance to see me come back without revenge. UNVG Wei is nothing." Chu Dao Qufeng glanced at Qingjia, frowned and said, "No, I don't agree. He is still just a child. I and Joei are fine, but I can't do it with a child on the battlefield." I wanted to say that I'm not young anymore, but after thinking about it, let's forget it, and shut up decisively." Menyon Mito explained. "I understand what you mean, but let's put it this way, Konoha is now the most suitable for dealing with the 7 ninja swords. There are only you here. Is Konoha already short of people to this point? We haven't reached the point where a child can deal with each other's top combat power, right?" Chu Dao asked the wind and said that he disagreed. Qingjie can understand why the 3 generations of Hokage gave Danzo the position of their Hokage consultants, and Chu Dao had no choice. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Too warm-hearted. As a village decision-maker, you can't be so kind. You need a cold and hard heart to make the most suitable and optimal option for the village at a critical moment. And Chu Dao's personality is not suitable, he himself knew, so he didn't take the position of Hokage's consultant, otherwise he would be noisy every day. Turning to bed, Xiaochen comforted the wind and said, "Take the wind, don't worry, this child is the special physique of the disciple of Osamaru, Kyosuke Asakawa. The body is immune to physical attacks, so we decided to let you take him." And Jouei went to attack the 7 ninjamen together. Qufeng still frowned, looked at Qingzuki and said, "For such a small child to come here, I really am. But this is war. Teacher Feijian lived in an even worse environment than it is now, didn't he survive? The purpose of the first generation of adults to create Konoha is to hope that the children's childhood will not be like him and Teacher Feijian, don't you know? I know, but now there is no way, and with you, I believe that even if you can't win, you can retreat all over the body. What we have to do is to leave as many Ninja 7 as possible. There against the woods. The threat Yi posed is too great. Is there no other choice? If you can, I really don't want to take the child to the battlefield if you can, but there is no other way, you can only do it. Advertisement, we want to." Turning to bed, Kaharu smiled bitterly, now Konoha's group of enemies are standing by. On the battlefields of the Kingdom of Wind and the Kingdom of Thunder, Osamaru and Jilai are still fighting. Konoha's personnel have been sent to the main battlefields, and Danzo has been sent. Go to the border of the Country of Rain to guard against attacks from the Country of Rain and the Country of Soil. The people who go with him are the roots and the dark parts. Here, you have not seen it. There are many children who have not graduated for 2 years. In recent years, Wuyan village has been ruthless by killing itself, and the village's strength has declined. Otherwise, even if they, with a group of fledgling little ghosts, want to stop Wuyan village, it is really a bit difficult. I understand, but if there is danger, I will retreat with my 2 children. It's up to you. You have all the information about the ninja, and I don't need to say it. There is no shortage of ambitions and perception ninjas. The temporary squad will take you as the captain, so please take care of you. I see, let's go. Qufeng led the 2 to leave, received logistics and related information, and left the camp. On the way, he said, "Kyosuke, right? Correct. To be honest, it's our fault to let your children go to the battlefield. Konoha has no ninjas to go to, it's really. The captain is nothing. This is war." Kyosuke said, "I'm very afraid of death, and I won't die easily on the battlefield." Seeing Qingsuke's indifferent appearance, he teased the wind and laughed. "It seems that I think too much, so let's go. The Ninja 7 is not easy to deal with, Jouei, please trouble you to explore the way." In the future, Konoha's 12 small strong oil girls' father, Unishi Wei is also a ninja with a low sense of existence, but with strong strength. I saw a group of insects flying out of the gourd behind him, flying forward to find the way. You must be cautious in the Nami ninja, because the ninjas in Wuyan village have one of the best assassination capabilities among the 5 ninja villages. Chapter 71. 7 Ninja Swords. The 7 ninja swords caused a lot of casualties on the front battlefield. After the previous raid on the border of the Country of Fire, they disappeared, and now they reappear again, bringing Konoha a lot of casualties. Qingjie and the others went to deal with them this time, of course, also for support. That group of guys killed many Konoha ninjas during this time. The sky was faintly bright, and the 3 figures ran wildly in the misty forest, daring not to stop for a moment. If you look closely, one of them is Watermelon Head, and it is K. Their Shinin leader has been killed, and the last order is to let them escape. There are no more people left in the camp where they are located, and everyone flees to death, because their opponent is the 7 ninja swordsmen in Wuyan village. The 7 ninjas are an excellent unit composed of 7 Wuyan elites who are proficient in ninja swords. Although there are only 7 people, the 7 people work together. The average ninja is not an opponent at all, even if it is under their hands. I think it is not easy to survive. Kai's Shangnin instructor died tragically on the spot, and then many Konoha ninjas died in the hands of the 7 ninja swords. In the end, everyone could only choose to abandon the camp and escape. Damn, they are still following. Kai looked at the figures who followed them unhurriedly and said. Teammate Shiranui Genma said, "They completely treat us as toys. This is just like a cat catching a mouse. The cat catching a mouse usually doesn't kill it directly. It will take a while to play. If you get tired of it, you will kill the mouse. Now they are just a group of little mice, and the 7 ninjas behind them are 7 tigers. They have nothing to do with them, so let's play with them. Although very unwilling, but this is the gap in strength. I don't want to run away anymore," Kai said. "You must escape, speed up, head towards the base camp, hoping that we can meet Konoha's ninja." I do not know who Xuanjian said. Now, I can only pray for Konoha's reinforcements. The 3 of them ran, but came to a dead end. Looking behind them, 7 men carrying knives were sitting on the rocks and trees with cruel smiles. "Run. Why didn't you run?" Wooly, who was holding the blasting knife Famo, laughed very bloody with a sharp mouth. "Let me string you all together." Advertisement. The owner of the long knife and stitches, Li Shikuangwen, is holding a long needle. He is tall and thin, wearing a mask of misty shadows, and his tone is flat, as if he is talking about a small thing. "Should let them be cut in 2 by my beheading sword," Loquat Juzo said. "It's up to you, but their chakra can feed my scalpel muscle." The fat watermelon mountain pufferfish ghost touched his beloved knife and said. The shark-like sharp teeth, the height of 2.5 meters, and the scalpel muscles behind them all seemed to put a lot of pressure on the three of them. Several people were discussing, but they didn't take K to their hearts at all. At this moment, a green figure rushed out of the forest behind him and stood in front of Kai. Somehow caught up. After seeing the person, Kai cried out in surprise. Dad, you are just a forbearance, why did you come here? Stop talking, run away, I'll buy you time. The other party is the Shinobu, and it is also the famous 7 ninja swordsmen. Dad, you can't beat them alone. Mad Dai gave his son a thumbs up and said, I have an 8-door Dunjia formation, don't worry about me. But, read more at hotmtlnovel.zi, don't work hard, reinforcements are coming. There was a clear voice, followed by a black cloud covering the sky and the earth. If you look carefully, those are insects, dense black insects, flapping their wings, bypassing Kai and the others, and rushing towards the 7 ninja swordsmen. What? The 7 ninja swords were surprised, but they didn't panic. Wu Li Jinba waved the explosive knife droplets, and the detonating talisman appeared on the knife. Every slash would cause an explosion, causing the insects to die in the explosion. But not everyone uses their own ninja swords. After all, not everyone's ninja swords are used for large-scale attacks like burst knife droplets. Loquat Shizong put the decapitating knife aside, immediately closed the seal, used the water to escape, and cleaned up the bugs that attacked him. The worm tide suddenly dispersed, and the 3 people who took the wind appeared in front of them. Shingzuki, why are you here? Yeah, it's been a long time. Kei, Genma, and Ebisu. We're here to support. Kyosuke waved to the 3 and greeted them. Ku Feng looked at Dai with a little surprise and said, 8-door Dunjia. There are not many people who practice this trick in Konoha. Only you have this strength. As a disciple of the 2nd generation of Hokage, Beiman Dunjia is a forbidden technique. He naturally knows that there are also people in Konoha who practice, but in his memory, only the one in front of him has practiced this state. Don't dare, I don't have any talent for ninjutsu, only some physical skills. Dai scratched his head embarrassedly and asked, who are you? Advertisement, Uncle Dai, this is the patriarch of the Chu Dao clan. Chu Dao takes the wind and specially came to support it. Shingzuki introduced. Take another look at the 7 ninja swords on the opposite side. If they arrive late, it is estimated that the 7 nin swords will be the 3 auspicious treasures after tomorrow. I really trouble you. Mad Dai's pressure suddenly became much smaller. With their support, he didn't need to open the dead door to fight, he didn't need to die, who didn't want to live? It's nothing. He took the wind and patted his stomach, opened a pair of small eyes, glanced at the Ninja 7 and said, it's really hard to deal with. Let me do it. Shinjia came out, in fact, in this team, he was the main attacker. Well, be careful, Joey, we are responsible for containment and cover. With a reminder, he squeezed the iron rod in his hand. Understood. The technique of multiple shadow clones. A dozen shadow avatars were separated at once, and flames burned up in all of them. On, leading his own shadow clone, rushed out in the lead. The overbearing kid. The first person in the 7 ninja swords to do this is the master of Thunderblade and Tooth, Black Ho Thundertooth. Thunderlight flashed on the barbed double knives. Shingzuki snorted when he saw it, and the 3 shadow clones rushed towards him. Small bugs. It's useless to think about the Black Ho Thunderteeth, and he glanced at the 2 shadow clones. It hadn't touched, the shadow clone exploded suddenly, the flame was raging, and the Black Ho Thundertooth flew out, spit out a mouthful of blood, but fortunately, the reaction was timely, otherwise, the life was gone just now. Be careful, these shadow clones will explode, but... The Loquat 10 Tibetan seals, the water left by the water just condenses into one body. Water body. Chapter 72. Wild Bateman moisture rushed towards Kiyomizu's shadow clone, and the decapitation knife in his hand chopped off the shadow clone before it exploded. Unfortunately, after the body is elementalized, even the shadow clone can have elemental abilities. Taking advantage of the effort of the shadow clone of Loquat Juzo just swinging the knife, it was difficult to retract it, grabbing the throat of the water body, and the flame sprayed out. The water body turned into a pool of water and fell, and the shadow clone waved his hand and said, is this the strength of the 7 ninja swords? Not so much. This stinky kid. Loquat Juzang's face turned dark, and he was so despised for his strength. He was still a little devil, which made him particularly unhappy. While holding a blunt knife to cut through the grass, the wild bait said, hey, Shizong, can't you deal with a little devil? It's really embarrassing to the 7 ninja swordsmen. You go, Loquat Shizo roared. The Tungsao bait man held a hammer in one hand and a knife in the other, and said, I'm going to go, I'm optimistic, what is called? Musket. A ball of sparks flew like a bullet, interrupting the words of the wild bait man. Shinji's arm burst into flames, and said, you have too many words, none of you can win me. Arrogant kid, I'll kill you. The current owner of the mackerel muscle, the watermelon mountain blowfish ghost, pressed the tail of the mackerel muscle on his back, and wanted to do it. The technique of partial doubling, taking the wind and punching it out, it suddenly became bigger in the next second. The watermelon mountain pufferfish hurriedly raised the knife to resist, but under the huge force, it was blown out. Jiwei, let's did, and which door can your 8-door Dunjia open at most? Qfeng asked Mad Dai. 8 doors can be opened, it's amazing. Qfeng exclaimed. 8 doors were fully opened, and even the 3rd generation of Hokage would not necessarily win. Unexpectedly, such a talent was buried so far, it is really a loss for the village. He immediately said, you don't need to open 8 doors. Just open to the 5th or 6th door. Could you please deal with a group of 7 ninja swords? Open to the 5th or 6th door, it is enough to deal with a group of 7 ninja swords. Okay. K. Look good, this is the youth of my father, the 6th gate, open. The vigorous green eruption, like a Saiyan transforming into shape, shook up waves of air, and the momentum was astonishing. Dad, advertisement K's eyes filled with excitement when he saw this scene, and his father's youthful appearance was really handsome. It's amazing. Seeing this is also admired by taking the wind. He has never seen anyone who can open Baemon to the 6th door. After all, Baemon is only practiced by those who are good at physical skills but not ninjutsu, and this kind of person is generally won't be a ninja. What is it like a ninja can't know how to do ninjutsu? Only a few people with perseverance will become ninjas, and among them, there are very few who will be able to do so. Kyosuke looked back and sighed. He deserves to be King Kai's father. Even if the King Kai is inferior to the future who almost kicked out of the finale, his strength is not bad. After all, if they don't come, the Ninja 7 will change. Has become the auspicious 3 treasures. Mad Dai rushed out in an instant, and directly found the Lisan Chuangwen that he said before that he wanted to wear his son and the others into a string. Let you bully my son, he punched it out, the speed was incredible, and Li Shikuanwen reacted fast enough. Matt wore a fist rubbing his hair over, and even wearing a mask, he could feel the opponent's strong punch. Secret technique insect jade. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. A large number of insects flew out under the control of Unezuwe, densely packed, and flew towards the owner of the double-sword flounder. There are 4 remaining, and the pressure on Xingjia is greatly reduced. With the explosion of the shadow clones, they separate the Loquat Shizong, Haiho Leia, Wulajinba, and Tungsao Baibyron. If you separate you, my pressure will be less. He smiled softly, and rushed straight to the master who was cutting with a blunt knife. The blunt knife pocket cut is claimed to be able to defeat all defenses, but first cut with a knife, and then hit the back of the knife with a hammer to add power. It is not necessarily to defeat all defenses. Let him go to the Rashomon, the first generation of Naruto and the first generation of Naruto. Try to make sure you can't cut it. A pure physical attack, there is nothing to care about. No ability to use, but the simplest and most direct method of attack, physical attack. Smelly brat. You came to me, what a fool. The blunt knife cut off the head, immediately drew out 2 kunai, set up the blade, and the grass bait sneered, secretly speaking innocent. The hammer in the other hand hit the back of the knife. Huge pressure was exerted, and the 2 kunai abruptly smashed open, and the blunt knife went straight down. Kiyasuke's body was divided into 2. Just as the savage bait man was triumphant, a burning hand grabbed his face and wanted to retreat, but the speed of that hand was too fast. His face was wrapped in flames, he let out a scream, and rolled aside. Advertisement covering his face, he rolled, even without his own weapons. Picking up a blunt knife and cutting it, it was quite heavy and not suitable for me, and said, this weapon is really bad, is it used to make up the number? It was terribly disgusting. Even though he said so, his body was still very honest with a blunt knife to cut at the grassy bait man. Loquat Shizong's decapitating knife stopped the blunt knife and said, hey, can't you kill him, it's just waste anyway. You can't find the next master to cut with a blunt knife. Kyosuke chuckled lightly and hit the back of the knife with a hammer. Loquat Juzo's heart sank, and he saw a decapitation knife appeared on his own gap. In terms of the ability to break defenses, his decapitation knife is still not as good as a dull knife. But fortunately, his decapitation knife is not afraid of being injured, and killing a person can use the iron in that person's blood to make up the gap. Although it is said, the owner of Shinobu is not easy to find. It's hard to find the owner of every Shinobu. Although it's uncomfortable to see the grass bait, it's a team anyway, so you can't let him out of it. If you can't find a replacement for the grass bait, you cut with a blunt knife. But it's going to be kept in the warehouse all the time. And the strength of the 7 ninja swordsmen will also be affected. That's right, if you kill you, Wuyan village is equivalent to abandoning an arm. At that time, you will lose. Kyosuke laughed, not afraid of the Loquat Juzo, Thunderblade. The Black Hoe Thundertooth's double knives rapped thunder and aimed at Kyosuke. Fire. Suddenly a flame burst out from behind, aiming at the sneak-attacking Black Hoe Thunderteeth swept away. Boy, die. Wu Li Jinba waved the bursting knife droplets, and the detonation symbol on the knife was eye-catching. This style of play, which is a rich man, cannot be learned. The blasting knife droplets smashed down, and the detonating talisman exploded. The Loquat Juzo, the nearest to Chinzuki, was also implicated and blown away by the aftermath of the explosion. Chapter 73. What are your moves? Murray Jinba, you be asterisk 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 D. Are you trying to kill me? Loquat Shizong sat on the ground embarrassedly and cursed. Ha ha ha, isn't it all right? Wooly smiled, showing her fangs, not caring whether his teammates are dead or alive. Anyway, as long as he is happy, it doesn't matter what teammates are. Yeah, isn't it all right? 2 feet on the ground made a sound, and I didn't know where the sound came from. Under the flames, Wooly's body reorganized, and Wooly jumped out of fright. She immediately jumped away and regained her body under the shocked gaze of the 3 of them. Wooly said, this kid's body is too similar to the body of the Ghost Lamp clan. As a person in Wuyan village, how could he not know the secret technique of hydration of the Ghost Lantern clan? If it's similar, it would be easier. Loquat Juzang stood up, patted the dust on his body, and said, Shuadong Great Waterfall Art. A torrent spit out from his mouth, and Kiyomizu immediately avoided and cut. I was seen through so soon. Chio can see through her body secrets so quickly because she has a wealth of combat experience, while Wooly Gina and the others are purely because there is a Ghost Lamp clan in their village. Their clan has a special body, so they can quickly find a countermeasure. It's hard to act if I'm seen through. They won't use shinobi swords on me, but they will use water escape. Standing on the tree, looking at the three people who sneered below, snorted, it was uncomfortable to be seen through. Leaking your own information will cause you a lot of trouble. Taking the wind to force the pufferfish to retreat from the watermelon mountain, seeing Shinzuki on the tree, knowing that he was restrained by Shui Dun, said to Unbj, Jue, go to support Shinzuki, give me the two-sword flounder. Unbj is not nonsense. At this time, she obeyed the order, pushed her sunglasses, rushed out, followed by a large number of insects, hiding her figure, making it impossible to see his whereabouts. Flame Vortex. The flames rushed up, forming a flame tornado. Under Chingsuk's control, the flame vortex became three smaller ones, rushing towards the Wooligan 8 or 3 people below. Water escape water turbulence. Water escape the art of waterhorn, water escape water rushing wave. The three of them reacted quickly and immediately used the water escape to dissolve the flame vortex. Secret technique insect marsh. At this moment, the ground at the feet of the Black Hoe Thundertooth suddenly collapsed and fell into the pit. Advertisement. There was a fine rubbing sound in his ears. Upon closer inspection, countless insects crawled around him, crawling on him. Before he could react, his body was already full of insects. Soon, the Black Hoe Thundertooth was wrapped into a ball by the bug, unable to move. The insects fanned their wings and sent the sphere formed by the Black Hoe Thundertooth into the air. Snapped. A bug exploded suddenly with a very small sound, but this was a signal. Happiness. Just after the first worm exploded, a large number of worms followed and exploded instantly. The Black Hoe Thundertooth inside was hit by the explosion, and the whole person rolled out, his whole body scorched, exuding an unspeakable smell. No matter how you look at it, it makes your scalp numb. Seeing so many bugs, Shinjia felt that he was about to commit his intensive phobia, but it would be good to solve one. Konoha's B*****************. D. Seeing that the Black Hoe Thundertooth was resolved, the Loquat Shazong roared and was very dissatisfied. The wild baitman was seriously injured and the Black Hoe Thundertooth died, which was a great loss to Wuyan. The Loquat Shazong, the next one is your turn. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Kyosuke pointed his finger at Loquat Juzo and said. With a kick of his feet, he rushed out of the tree, his body turned into a ball of flame, bypassing the water escape of the Loquat 10 Tibetans, extremely sensitive, and retransformed into a human form, with flames burning on both palms. Shenhuo Shiranui. The flames condensed into two short spears and flew out. Loquat Shizo immediately raised the knife to resist, and the two short flame spears exploded on the knife. Firefly Fire Dharma. His hands turned bright green, and a large number of green sparks like fireflies flew out. Loquat Shizo was also a battle-tested Shang-Ren, aware of the danger, and immediately used water to extinguish the fire Dharma. Boy, your head is mine. Wooly came to kill her, with a layer of clear water attached to the explosive knife droplets in his hand. If he was cut, he would die. Chingjia will naturally not let this happen. Yanju Fire Pillar. As his body rotated, a burning pillar of fire instantly rushed into the sky, forcing Wooly to retreat. What a tricky kid. When the flame dissipated, Kyosuke looked at Loquat Juzo and said, don't underestimate me. Advertisement. He stretched out his right arm. A flame was burning on his arm, but quickly, the flame was compressed, but the arm exuded a high temperature, and the surrounding space was scorched and twisted by the heat. One step out, the whole person rushed out, almost instantly in front of the Loquat Juzang. Before he could use ninjutsu, Loquat Juzo raised the sword, and Kyosuke slammed his fist on the blade. In the next second, the flames vented out like a river bursting a bank. Ah! Loquat Juzo was swallowed by this flame. The pillar of fire swallowed the target, not only that, but also the trees behind the target, opening a ravine of 100 meters long. The land was scorched, the trees burned with raging flames, and only the trunks that burned to charcoal were left. As for the Loquat Juzo, he was burned into a scorched corpse by the hot flame. The burnt red decapitation knife fell aside, and Kyosuke picked it up, ignoring the hot blade. What? A powerful attack. The owner of the double sword flounder turned pale with fright. This kind of attack shouldn't be something a kid can strike. Oh, worthy of being a disciple of Oshimaru, ha ha ha. Seeing the wind, he laughed, and the power of that blow was beyond the reach of many ninjas. What are your moves? Wu Li Jinba asked. It's just compressing chakra, and then bursting out again. Kyosuke laughed. The move just now is a compressed version of the Huo Fist, which compresses the Huo Fist, making it smaller and more powerful. Because of the need to adapt to the rules of the world, the use of fruit power is linked to his own chakras. Fortunately, his chakras are growing very fast. Turning his head to look at Wu Li Jinba, pointed at him with a decapitating knife and said, then, you are the next one. Boy, do you think you can kill me? Of course, our purpose here is to kill you. Water escape, big burst of water rushing waves. Wu Li Jinbagong wanted to retreat, but the watermelon mountain puffer fish ghost over there used a big move. The flood is overwhelming, setting off huge waves, sweeping everything, seeming to destroy everything that stands in the way. In a blink of an eye, the forest became a piece of Zegwo. Chapter 74. It's burning up, shaking his body, standing on the water, looking at the lake that the forest turned into in a blink of an eye. Kiyomizu couldn't help sighing that the owner of the shark muscle was a monster with plenty of chakras. Dried persimmon pufferfish is, as is this watermelon mountain pufferfish, but it should not be as strong as the dry persimmon pufferfish, otherwise, the watermelon mountain pufferfish will not die by the hands of the dry persimmon pufferfish. However, this guy can't be small, and the owner of the shark muscle is not easy to deal with. Li Shiquanwen, who was originally suppressed by Mad Dai, finally had a chance to breathe. The mask on his face was mostly broken, revealing fangs, and there was blood in the corner of his mouth. An arm was twisted irregularly, and it was just kicked by Mad Dai. That's it after a kick. His tall and thin, streamlined body makes him very good at speed, but the hairy guy in front of him is actually faster than his own speed. The ninja sword in his hand is useless at all, basically all of them are used to avoid attacks. Ku Feng, Unvg Wei, Mad Dai, and Sheng Jia stood together to form a temporary team. 4 people are left. The masters of Watermelon Mountain Pufferfish Ghost, Wu Li Jinba, Li Shi Chuan Wan, and Double Sword Flounder, these 4 are not easy to deal with. Hey, Pufferfish Ghost, you be asterisk 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 D. I didn't say a word with ninjutsu, and it was almost affected. Murray Gina was very concerned about the fact that she was almost attacked by a big explosion. On the contrary, the Watermelon Pufferfish Ghost smiled contemptuously. If a waste like you dies, it will die. Anyway, there is no loss. The ninjas in the village who want to use explosive knife droplets still grab a lot of them. Huh. There are a lot of people who want to use shark muscle, you fat man. You say it again, give it a try, you Cyclops. The 2 quarreled, and the owner of the flounder gasped for a while, and ignored the 2 of them. He clenched the knife, stared at each other, and said, Li Hao, can you still fight? It's okay, but if I run into that green suit, I can't win. The speed is too fast and the strength is great. I am not an opponent at all. I'll deal with that guy, you'll deal with that oily girl who uses bugs. Zhouei's attack makes him particularly difficult to use. The characteristic of flounder is that as the number of kills increases, it can increase the number of chakras contained in the weapon, thereby increasing its power. It is a weapon that allows users to fight more and more bravely. But even if you kill the bugs, how many chakras can you get? It was minimal and it was particularly troublesome. It would be very uncomfortable to be attacked by bugs accidentally, so he decided to change opponents with Li Shikishiwan, and didn't want to kill each other, as long as he could hold him. Then he waited for Li Shichuangwen to solve the troublesome oily female clan, and then joined hands with himself to kill the watermelon head. Naturally, he knew his mind, Li Shichuangwen, and immediately nodded, holding his shinobi sword, preparing for an instant kill. Advertisement at this moment, he saw Chingzuki and Zhouei whispering a few words. The 2 exchanged positions and came to Mad Dai's side and said a few more words. Mad Dai nodded and gave a thumbs up, no problem. The brow raised under the mask, what does this mean? Qingjia looked at Li Shichuanwen and said, it's nothing, you were ready to go on while you were sick, Uncle Dai. Oh, burn it, youth. Mad Dai was very emotional and extremely passionate, and he deserved to be the man who influenced the life of Emperor Kai. Mad Dai rushed out in an instant, and Kyosuke followed closely behind, slower than a bit, but just right. Li Shichuanwen saw Mad Dai passing him faster, and he was taken aback for a moment. Didn't he attack him? I saw Mad Dai cross the chestnut balls and attack the flounder master behind him. The watermelon puffer ghost next to him. No, there is one more. The air that became hot and dry for a moment made him come back to his senses. Shui Dun waterfront wall. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Enduring the pain, forcibly forming a seal. A wall of water rose from under his feet to block the flames coming from him. The waterfront wall just dissipated, but he saw Chingzuki close at hand, and a figure that passed over him. That is, surprise mother fu.ck. Suddenly flames burst out of Kyosuke's body. It's burning up. Li Shichuanwen's pupils shrank, and immediately wanted to escape, but it was a pity that it was still a step too late. Boom. Purify the screen, world peace. The sound of the explosion attracted the attention of several other people, but it was a pity that they had no time to pay attention. Watermelon Mountain Blowfish Ghost and Mad Dai meet, there is no doubt that they will lose. Advertisement. The biggest feature of shark muscle is that it can absorb chakras from opponents and inject the absorbed chakras into the user's body. However, Mad Dai was a purely physical attack, so that the characteristics of the shark's muscles could not be used, and it could only become a more peculiar ninja sword, but was elbow-controlled everywhere. Zhouei is very strong against Wooly. The blasting knife droplets are indeed powerful. Every time they attack, they will explode. However, Zhouei has too many bugs. He can exchange the detonation symbols in the blasting knife droplets with minimal loss. He didn't believe that Wooly Jinba had more detonating charms than his own bugs. You know, your own bugs can absorb chakras and reproduce quickly, but the corpse of the Black Hoe Thundertooth provides a lot of chakras for your own use. The owner of the flounder is also uncomfortable when encountering the wind. The flounder is liberated, but there is no way to get the wind, and Kiyomizu kills the chestnut skewers. Captain Wind, I'm here, let's go. Oh, the technique of super doubling. In the blink of an eye, Feng Feng became a giant, and the big iron rod swept over at the owner of the flounder. The owner of the flounder naturally wanted to run, but it was a pity that Chingzuki would not give him this opportunity and said, don't want to run, die here. Boy, get out of me, don't think about it, Yan Shangang. In a blink of an eye, a wall of fire rose to prevent him from escaping. After looking at his feet, the flounder owner immediately eliminated the chakra under his feet. He lost the support of the chakra and could no longer stand on the water. He would fall down when he saw it. Xingjie, a tiger, rushed forward and grabbed him tightly. The owner of the flounder was shocked, and it was too late to take any action again. The iron rod for the wind had been swept over, and the iron rod hit him firmly, not knowing how many bones it broke. The body flies in the air like a rag. Kyosuke, who had reorganized his body, jumped on the hand that took the wind. Taking the wind is worthy of the old world. He immediately understood what he meant, and threw him out with a wave of his hand. Against the violent wind, he came to the owner of the falling flounder accurately and grabbed his throat. At this time, this guy could no longer resist. The flame rushed out and immediately swallowed his body. Then he released his hand and pinched his nose. His body was like a cannonball, slammed into the water, and a big splash of water was splashed. Chapter 75. This is my escape route. There are 2 left. Kyosuke said. There are 2 people left, Woolly Jinhachi and Watermelon Mountain Pufferfish Ghost. The Watermelon Pufferfish Ghost has been driven into desperation by Mad Dai at this time, and his body is too fat. The attack became vigorous, and the reaction speed was too slow. The attack could not reach Mad Dai, and instead suffered a lot of damage. The shark muscle can absorb his chakra, and now his injuries are increasing. As for Woolly Jinba's side, it was very different from the continuous explosions at the beginning. Now it can only explode once occasionally. It should be that there are not many initiating symbols in the blasting knife droplets. Without the detonation talisman, the blasting knife droplet is a heavy piece of scrap iron. However, this knife also has the same tricks, but it is not a last resort. Woolly Jinba will never use it. Hoo. The Watermelon Pufferfish Ghost panted, facing Mad Dai's attack. He couldn't resist, and his body was very uncomfortable. He coughed up a mouthful of blood, held the tail of the shark muscle tightly, and said, "It seems that this trick must be used." Seeing him, Shinzuki said, "All the shark muscles can use are the heavy swordsmanship that can be used to open and close. You can't win against Uncle Dai, but I remember that there are alternative methods." Touching his chin, he remembers that the dried persimmon ghost shark can turn into a half-human half-shark by relying on the shark muscle. That is an application of the shark muscle. As the master of the shark muscle, the Watermelon Pufferfish Ghost does not make sense. Sure enough, he was guessing that the Watermelon Mountain Pufferfish Ghost had already moved, and the tail end of the shark muscle protruded long thorns, which penetrated his palm, but he did not see the slightest pain. The shark muscle began to shrink, and the body of the Watermelon Pufferfish Ghost continued to grow. The huge blade gradually submerged into his limbs and torso, and finally disappeared invisible. In this process, his body also undergone earth-shaking changes. It was originally like a personal Watermelon Mountain Pufferfish Ghost, suddenly turned into a monster-like thing. The originally sturdy body swelled again, broke through 3 meters, and became thicker for several laps. The clothes on the body were bursting. I don't know why the quality of the pants is very good. There is no shark-like dorsal fin, head and head. The head is like a fusion, and gills grow out behind the ears. Webs also grew on the palms and soles of the feet. Bone spurs also grew on the elbows and knees, and the skin turned dark green, looking very ugly. The hair that was originally tied up exploded all at once and became extremely hard, becoming long thorns. Around the chest, a large number of thorns also grew, and there was no human-like place on the whole body. If this scene is seen by Dashimaru, he will definitely find a way to capture the Watermelon Mountain Pufferfish alive and use it for research. Advertisement. Several people were shocked when they saw the change of the pufferfish in the Watermelon Mountain, and said, "How can the shark muscle be integrated with the user? It's a unique way to use it." He hadn't seen this kind of change. What a big pufferfish! Cried Shinzuki. The dried persimmon is half man and half shark. This guy is half man and half puffer. Although they are all ugly, the dried persimmon ghost shark is very attractive. After watching it for a long time, it will feel a little handsome. The Watermelon Mountain Pufferfish Ghost depends on the changes in the shark muscle, which is really ugly. When Woolly Jinba saw this change of the Watermelon Mountain Pufferfish Ghost, he scolded and ran away regardless of the flying insects. The Watermelon Mountain Pufferfish Ghost didn't care about this unrighteous person, and said, "Since you are going to push me to death, let you see my best move." As he spoke, his body swelled again and turned into a ball-like thing, but it was covered with thorns, and a lot of venom began to be exposed on these thorns. Is it sea urchin? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Xingjie has a serious complexion. Even once, he knows the terrible tetrodotoxin. The ovaries, liver, kidneys, eyes, and blood of pufferfish are highly toxic. They are handled improperly or eaten by mistake. The mild ones are poisoned and the severe ones die. Although I heard it was delicious. Tetrodotoxin is one of the most toxic neurotoxins found in nature. A severely poisoned person will not be able to breathe, can't move his whole body, and watch himself die, which is terrifying. Shen said, "Captain Wind, be careful. This guy's poison may be tetrodotoxin. Once he is injured and poisoned, there is no way to prepare serum." Taking the Wind also knew the horror, nodded, his body shrank, watching the Watermelon Mountain Pufferfish Ghost roll over. The speed was quite fast. In that case, Jouei nodded, secret technique insect jade. Countless insects flew past, crushing black, like a dark cloud, lying on the Watermelon Mountain Pufferfish Ghost, but in a blink of an eye, those insects were poisoned and died suddenly. I'm coming. Shuriken Shadow Clone Technique. A large number of shurikens flew out and stuck on the huge ball, only to find that they could not break through the opponent's defense. Advertisement. Yan Shanggong. With a wave of his hand, the wall of fire rose, but the Watermelon Mountain Pufferfish suddenly dived into the bottom of the water. Swimming extremely fast, everyone could only see a vague shadow. Suddenly, he suddenly rushed from behind Kyosuke and flew out with the wind and a stick. Kyosuke reacted in shock, but he immediately moved away. Fire punch. A huge flame fist hit, but the watermelon mountain blowfish ghost opened his mouth to spit out a large number of entities to extinguish the flame. Haha laughed. This is my escape route. Goodbye Konoha's B ******** D. Everyone. Chasing or not, captain of Taking Wind, turning to look at Taking Wind and asked. When taking the wind, he looked at Joey. A bug flew out of Joey's collar and said, "You can chase me. There are my bugs on Woolly Jinba and Watermelon Blowfish Ghost. You can rely on the bugs to find them. Maybe you can find their headquarters. Then go." Take the wind and nodded. Joey clean up the battlefield. There are bugs, they are not in a hurry to follow. Joey immediately salvaged the corpses with insects, and the ninja swords were also placed. The corpse was sealed with a sealing scroll, but Shinobi didn't care. Before long, these shinobi swords suddenly disappeared. Qfeng explained. Wuyan's ninja knife is very special. It has a recovery scroll. When the owner dies, he will be channeled back. It looks like the Watermelon Mountain pufferfish ghosts have already made contact with Wuyan. Retreat. The Watermelon Mountain pufferfish ghosts got in touch with Wuyan, which means that there may be a large group of Wuyan coming over. They have too few people, and there is not much chance of winning against the large group of Wuyan. Therefore, it is the best policy to kill the 5 ninja swords, and the 7 people is already a super reward. After this time, Konoha's pressure on the mist will be much smaller. Next, we will retreat.